This presentation of Red Sox Spring Training on NESN is brought to you by Ace Ticket. It's more than a ticket. Visit aceticket.com or call 1-800-MY-SEATS. And by Jordan's Furniture, the furniture store of the Boston Red Sox. The beaches here in Florida just packed today. Gorgeous afternoon. Temperature about 83 degrees. And should be a lot of sunshine, a little breezy today. Wind blowing from right to left at JetBlue Park. Dave O'Brien and Steve Lyons with Red Sox coming off a victory yesterday in their first official Grapefruit League game as they won 4-3 over the Minnesota Twins, and today taking on the Tampa Bay Rays, division rivals. Dustin Pedroia has been on hand signing a lot of autographs today. Of course, Petey trying to make his way back from knee surgery in the offseason. Red Sox expect him at some point in May. His rehab has been going very, very well. He's very happy with that. Yoenis Elias on the mound today, the left-hander for the Red Sox, one of many who will pitch in this game. We're also expecting to see Brandon Workman, Heath Hembree, Kyle Martin, and a couple of other guys at the tail end, or Alex Cora. Now, Alex said just yesterday he's not concerned about the fact that J.D. Martinez, there has not been an official announcement that he is with the Boston Red Sox. The physical exam was the other day, and the doctors continue to examine those things, and everything that came out of Fort Myers, which is where J.D. had the physical done, had several stops to make here. It wasn't streamlined all in one place from what we understand, unlike going to Mass General, for example, sort of one-stop shopping. But right now there has been no official announcement. If that happens during the course of today's game, certainly we will bring you details of that announcement. Meanwhile, the Red Sox today to take on Tampa Bay, who finished third in the American League East last year behind the Sox and the Yankees. And here's a look at their starting lineup. In center field, it'll be Mallex Smith. He'll be one of their regular guys. Good speed in center. Matt Duffy is at third base. Jake Bauers at first base. Brandon Snyder, who played for the Red Sox briefly, he's in left. Ryan Schimpf is the second baseman. Jesus Sucre, the catcher. Jason Coates in right field. Joe McCarthy, the DH. And Daniel Robertson is the shortstop and the number 9 hitter. Facing Elias, the left-hander, now 29 years old from Cuba. Spent over 4 months on the DL with an oblique strain last year. And he wound up pitching at several levels, including briefly for the Red Sox.
Checking out his numbers there as he gets ready to get this game going. Looking at the defense. Pretty regular out there in left and center with Benintendi and Bradley Jr. Steve Selski gets the start and right. Around the infield, Rafael Devers at third base. Brock Holtz, your shortstop for today's game. Devin Marrero at second base. Moreland at first. And Elias and Sandy Leon is your battery for the day.
Tampa Bay managed by Kevin Cash, former Red Sox catcher. In fact, he and Alex Cora were teammates on the 2007 Red Sox that won a world championship. Going head-to-head today, and we'll see each other early and often, as they say, in the regular season. Right off the bat, opening day on March 29th, it's the Red Sox at Tropicana Field. And then within a week, the Rays will come back to Fenway, and at the end of April, they will meet yet again at Fenway Park.
Get used to each other early.
You know, it's amazing the way the managerial position is beginning to change. A lot of brand new managers, a lot of guys that have not managed or coached at any level. And you look at the situation up there in New York. But just 10 years after these two guys played together, they're both managing a major league team. That is a very quick ascension to the throne.
Yep, and you were referencing Aaron Boone, the new manager of the New York Yankees, who replaced Joe Girardi and never managed or coached at any level. Came right out of the broadcast booth. Very smart guy. It's going to be fascinating to watch, see how that unfolds this season, particularly early on.
You know, there's tons of people out there that know the X's and O's of managing and could manage a baseball game. The biggest transition for a player to make to manager is managing 25 people instead of just yourself.
First one in there for a strike on Smith. 270 hitter last year with a couple of home runs. He has played for San Diego, Atlanta, and Tampa Bay, and he'll be a regular in their outfield. Smacks that one. Nice backhand stab by Moreland for a quick out. One away.
Yeah, you hit it to the wrong guy if you're hitting it at Moreland and he doesn't have to move too far to get it. Not much is getting past that guy. Gold Glove caliber first baseman.
And the toe is healthy this year because he broke that toe last year, and that hampered him, particularly offensively.
Well, just lingers, you know. It's not like you can get off your feet and still play the game.
So now send up Matt Duffy, third baseman for the Rays. Boy, their world has been turned upside down, and a lot of their players have not been bashful about discussing the rapid changes in their clubhouse just in the last couple of weeks. Corey Dickerson is gone. Of course, Longoria gone last year. He was traded to San Francisco. Jake Odorizzi was traded. Cobb has not returned. He opted for free agency. And all sorts of changes.
Steven Souza just dealt away as well. So, I mean, you've got a situation where, you know, they went into camp thinking they were one team. And now they're not that same team. And Chris Archer and Kevin Kiermaier, who were two of their stars, they were not very happy about any of these changes. They thought they had a different look coming in, and the Rays are not that team. I would not be happy. I mean, you know, the way the game's played, and until you become a free agent, you basically keep your mouth shut and you play for the team that's paying you. But you know, everyone wants to be competitive, and Archer's a guy who certainly wants to be competitive down there. He's been one of the cornerstones of that organization. He wants to at least think that the organization is trying to get better around him.
Nice scoop again by Moreland to feed the pitcher. And Elias got there in time for the out. 2 up and 2 down. A couple of nice early stabs by Moreland at first base.
Now, one of the great advantages of free agency for a player is that's when you get to open your mouth a little bit. I get to choose where I want to play. I get to ask you as an organization if you're going to make me a better team around me. Another excellent play right there by Moreland, and Roenis getting over there nicely. Sometimes this is where you forget to go cover first base at spring training a few days in.
So 2 away. Jake Bauer is next, the first baseman. Spent most of his time at Durham last year, hitting 13 home runs. Just getting underway on a sun-drenched diamond here in Florida. Yeah, and you make a good point too about, you know, when you consider yourself enough of a veteran to stand up in the clubhouse like Archer did and Kiermaier did for Tampa Bay and say something. And here come the cameras, and here come the writers, and everyone's gathering around you, and you know, in 5 minutes everything you say is going to be out there. General manager's going to hear it, your manager's going to hear it, front office is going to hear it, and you mean to make a statement. And I was watching Kiermaier on tape the other day, and first thing he said was, basically, I want this to come out right, but I need to be careful, basically controlling myself, because they were all so upset with this flurry of moves that they thought, lessened the ball club.
And I think that's very prudent of him. I mean, that's kind of my point, is you don't really have the right to say anything. Your job is to go play. But it's got to be really frustrating when you're the 2 star players of that team and everyone else is gone.
Yeah, and they both did. They both prefaced their comments with exactly that. I'm an employee. I'm a player. I play with the guys that are here. However,
they're not here anymore.
A lot of them aren't here. And, this isn't what I thought. So they're going to be expected to finish last in the division. Red Sox will see them 10 times before the 1st of May. Wow.
Good chance to get off to an excellent start in this season. Opening the season with Tampa Bay and then going on to Miami. There's another team that no one's going to recognize.
Base is empty, 2 down, 3 and 2 to count on Bowers. And Elias trying to make it a fast first with the help of his first baseman. And popped it up. And Moreland coming in. And he was everywhere in this inning. He made all the plays. 1, 2, 3. They go, and the Sox are coming up against the Rays. Time here this afternoon against the Tampa Bay Rays, and here's a look at the Boston lineup against right-hander Jake Faria. Jackie Bradley leading things off in center field, followed by Andrew Benintendi, and then Rafael Devers. He's in the 3 spot. Mitch Moreland at first base, the cleanup man, 34 doubles last season. Brock Holt at short today with Sandy Leon doing the catching. Sam Travis the DH, Devin Marrero at second base, and Steve Selsky in right field and batting ninth against Faria. Went 5-4 last season for Tampa Bay, 3.43 is ERA. He will be in their rotation.
Yeah, I mean, this is a guy that did a nice job for them, up and down during the season. But he's a guy that's going to get a long look now with the numbers he threw up last year. All 4 pitches, fastball, curveball, changeup, slider. Loves to throw first pitch breaking balls.
So the first one to Jackie, high for a ball. Jackie eager to get back to the offensive levels of 2016 when he hit 26 homers and drove in 87. You look at his numbers from last year, and he rips a base hit. So a good start for JBJ as he's aboard.
Defensively now for Tampa Bay, check them out. Across the outfield, Brandon Snyder, Smith in center, Jason Coates in right field. In the infield, Matt Duffy, how about that? His foot's all better, playing some third base. Daniel Robertson will be the utility man this year. He's at short. Chip at second base, and Jake Bowers at first. Faria is your pitcher, and Jesus Sucre is the catcher today.
So Bradley aboard with the knock, and Benintendi will climb in for the first time today. Andrew Sebastian Benintendi. 271, 20 homers, 90 runs batted in last season. And still just 23 years old. Drove in 90 runs in his first full major league campaign.
You and I spoke of that in the open, and I just kind of got the feeling that there were some people actually disappointed in those numbers.
Really?
Yeah, it was like, there was so much hype around him being the rookie of the year. And then, of course, Aaron Judge burst onto the scene. That it was like, I think people wanted more out of him. There was a few people that I talked to that just got the feeling, I'm like, man, what do you want?
90 RBIs at 22.
20 home runs. More than 25 doubles.
I would not understand that sense of disappointment if that, in fact, was there.
I was in Double-A.
Right. There you go. Rafael Devers, 21 years old, playing at the major league level, facing guys
college.
103. Right. See, at some point we got to reel in our expectations a little bit.
It's Boston.
Yeah. Well, there is that. The 2-0, and still among the most beautiful swings in all of Major League Baseball from Andrew Benintendi.
Last year, some of the talk was that Benny put on weight to come into spring training for his first full season. I talked to him again. He said, I put more weight on again this year. Another 6 or 7 pounds. I always drop about 5 pounds during the season.
They said it was more in the lower half this year, but he absolutely looks broader and stronger. To center field, that's going to drop. And Smith can't get it. Bradley rounding, alert base running. He's into third safely. Benintendi holding at first base. Smith trying to make a sprawling stab on it, but could not get it.
Well, he was fooled by that ball. I think that ball might have hit him right in the head. He got fooled. He hesitated, and we know what happens when you hesitate. There's that swing you're talking about. So pretty. And then just badly played, and that ball hit him in the elbow, hit him off the noggin. And good job by Bradley by picking that up. That plays right in front of him, and he got all the way to third.
Of course, they've got a Gold Glover in center field on an everyday basis, and Kiermaier did not make the trip here. Smith will be at a corner. So first and third for Rafael Devers. Red Sox with a chance to do some damage right away. .284 last season, 10 homers. He drove in 30. Wound up playing in 58 games as a rookie. Moreland on deck. And Faria with the 0-1. After wins over Northeastern and Boston College to open spring training games, Red Sox beat the big league Minnesota Twins 4-3 on Friday. Roster hopeful Jeremy Barfield had a key hit, a 2-run double. He's got to watch this spring.
Hammered that ball too. That's the kind of guy he's going to have to be. He's a big guy. He's going to have to swing the bat and swing it with power.
0-2. Lunging into left field on the line. Snyder back it up, and that's over his head. He had trouble with that. Jackie Bradley to scamper home. Here's the play at second, and not in time. Benintendi to third, and the Red Sox lead it 1-0.
Boy, that's what I loved about Devers last year, his ability to go the other way. As you mentioned, that wasn't his best opposite field swing, but his hands are so strong. That was a bullet over the head of the left fielder. Oh. He can just flat out hit.
It really took off on Snyder, didn't it?
Yeah. I mean, same thing. He didn't think it was hit that hard, and it went blistering over his head. Those are some quick, strong hands that the 21-year-old Devers has.
And the second baseman Schimpf will back up. He'll concede a run. Playing in shallow right field, so Moreland with an RBI opportunity if he just puts it in play here, which is something he's very unselfish about. Fouls it away for a strike. Well, the Red Sox have seen Faria before, twice last year, in fact, when they brought him up from the minors, as you mentioned. They beat him in July, or he beat the Red Sox in July. And then he pitched well in relief as well, so they do have a bit of a book on him.
Yeah, he had good numbers against the Red Sox, but not off to a great start in this one.
3 consecutive Boston hits to begin the day. One and one.
Faria's a guy that pretty much lives in the area of the low 90s with his fastball. Can't touch 94.
And like everybody the Rays have ever put on the mound, it seems he can throw a changeup whenever he wants it. It's been a staple of their organization. He rolls over to the second baseman to get in that run. So Moreland will pick up the RBIs after a very nice start today defensively and with the bat. Red Sox lead it 2-0.
Exactly what you're talking about right there, making sure you put the ball in play, get another run across the board.
Your teammates love to see that. Your manager loves to see that, but just the unselfishness of it's spring training. I mean, you want to work on some things, you want to get some knocks, right? But he's also doing what he would do in a regular season game.
Yeah, and sure, he wants a hit, drive in both of them, but you know, the worst situation you can be in as a hitter at that time is striking out. Put the ball in play, make something happen, get a run over. Strikeout just kills everybody right there.
Devers down to third and sends up Brock Holt. He's at shortstop today. Infield in for Tampa Bay. Brock, the 29-year-old Texan. He's just really looking for a healthy year. Missed 75 games last year battling vertigo.
Well, unfortunately, I know what that's a little bit like. I was diagnosed with vertigo about 6 weeks ago.
Oh, no kidding.
No fun.
That explains a lot.
You figured I always had it.
It's nasty stuff, and I know that in Brock's case it was such a battle, and it brought to mind years ago. Remember Nick Osaski?
Yeah.
Ended his career effectively.
Signed a 4-year deal and never played.
Yes. With Atlanta.
Right after some successful seasons with the Red Sox, right?
Yeah. Yeah, a very sad story. Brock's been able to overcome it. And it's one of those things that can come and go, and he's a guy who's also had issues with concussions.
Yeah, you know, it feels like people say, well, you feel dizzy. Well, it's a different feeling. It's the spins. It feels like everything's moving around you, and that's, you know, balance issues are tough. And
in there for a strike. No, he kid, but it's awful stuff to go through.
Could you imagine Brock Holt trying to hit a 95-mile-an-hour fastball with that going on.
That shouldn't have to happen. And in his case, obviously missed a lot of games trying to deal with it. Good count for him here with a man at third. Backing up Snyder again all the way to the track and can't make the play. Another run is in. Holt taking off for second, and they will pull up there. And the Red Sox lead it 3-0, and Snyder is not having a lot of fun in left field.
No, he's not. And he, you know, I won't go so far as to say he misplayed this ball, but he didn't play it very well. You see him turn his back and run on it, and he's looking at the ball the entire time, and that's why he never catches up with it. If you're a young outfielder, you got to turn and run to a spot. The ball will be there when you get there. You cannot run nearly as fast if you're looking back at the baseball trying to go and catch it, and that's why Brock Holt's standing at second base, and he's happy about it.
RBI double for Brock, and the Red Sox on top 3-0 right away against Faria. Kyle Snyder is their new pitching coach. Jim Hickey, who was there for what, 11, 12 years, he has left and taken a pitching coaching job with the Chicago Cubs. Of course, he and Joe Maddon were together for a long time in Tampa. Yep. So a change there in their hierarchy.
Maybe there won't be as many changeups.
Maybe that's possible, I guess. They're very big on schooling their guys at the minor league level. They love that pitch. So that'll send up Sandy Leon, sixth man to bat in the inning for the Sox. Off to an excellent start today, already with 4 hits, including a couple of doubles. Sandy coming off a year at bat, 225 with 7 home runs. Tampa Bay also scheduled to use Matt Andriese today, along with Jose Alvarado. So some of their veterans are here. And Faria still only 1 man out with the 0-1.
I was listening to Kevin Cash talk to the media before the game, and he was talking a lot about the guys that aren't here anymore. And can you imagine how defeating that would be if you're trying to get your team ready to play and you continually have to talk about the guys that aren't here, whereas you go to the other dugout and listen to, you know, Alex Cora talk about, look at what we have, look what we can play with, look what we're expecting to do this season.
Big cut. Sandy tried to tear into one there, and that one disappeared.
Just so disheartening to be around that type of an atmosphere where you're constantly trying to defend the organization's moves instead of trying to play baseball.
Activity in the bullpen for Tampa Bay already. You know, at least Cash wanted to get Faria through 1 inning. Holt at second, 3 runs in.
I always think that's funny in spring training where they make a game plan as to who's going to pitch when, but it's always the other team will let you know how long you're going to pitch.
Right. They've got a plan too. Ryan Yarbrough in their bullpen, a left-hander. So beginning to loosen up in a hurry. Bradley, Benintendi, Devers, Holt, all with hits in this inning, and Mitch Moreland with a productive RBI. Base hit or ground out to second base. That one tagged foul. 2 balls and 2 strikes. And Sandy looking to bounce back from a down year after what he did in 2016 when he hit .310.
Unfortunately, you can say that about almost every member of the Red Sox. They had such great numbers 2 seasons ago. It was going to be awfully difficult for any of them to repeat that. That's just the way the game's played. It'd be nice to see everyone step closer to those numbers again this year.
2-2. He bounced it, Holt holding at second base. Sox will face the Baltimore Orioles tomorrow at 1 o'clock here on NESN, right here at JetBlue. Left-hander Brian Johnson scheduled to start. Joe Kelly expected to pitch in that game, and so is Carson Smith. among others.
Nice to see Joe Kelly bouncing around after getting hit in the ankle by that batting practice ball.
Yeah, he gets scalded pretty good, but he's okay. And that's going to be up high, and he walked him. Sandy Leon taking ball 4. So at least 7 Red Sox will come to bat here in the first inning. That'll send up Sam Travis, who's the DH this afternoon. Sam of the Paw Sox last year hit .270 with 6 home runs. He was disappointed he didn't hit for more power. He was 6 home runs. He was disappointed he didn't hit for more power. He knows what it's like to catch fire in spring training.
Yeah, he usually hits a lot of them down here. That's
lunging into left field on the line. Snyder backing up, and that's over his head. He had trouble with that. Jackie Bradley to scamper home. Here's the play at second, and not in time. Benintendi to third, and the Red Sox lead it 1-0.
Boy, that's what I loved about Devers last year, his ability to go the other.
And a strike.
You mentioned, I mean, you hate to toss out predictions, but it's an opportunity for the Red Sox to pick up a lot of wins early.
Sure.
Well, the Rays tend to be very tough on Boston. Pitch the Red Sox particularly tough. Here's a look at that schedule.
Yeah, as we talked about, a lot of TBs up there, and then of course the Yankees will be coming to town. But yeah, there's an excellent opportunity in the month of April to get off to a fantastic start.
I agree with the Yankees. Looming right away, should be fascinating. Yankees have taken to calling themselves the little engine that could.
Underdogs.
With Aaron Judge in the lineup, you really think people are going to buy the little engine that could? I don't think so.
Stanton standing next to him.
Sanchez
there.
Jeez. However, the Yankees general manager has talked about, he thinks the roles have certainly flipped again, that the Yankees are the underdog and the Red Sox, having won the division in back-to-back years.
Propaganda. I don't really think that sits very well with a Yankee organization. They've never been the type of organization to not say that they're the best team. You know what I mean? They'll come out and say, we're the best, come and get us. Now they're trying to play some underdog role? Makes no sense. I'm not buying it.
You and I were talking about the other day that, you know, Chris Sale doesn't buy that underdog thing for the Red Sox. It's like, you know, Red Sox have won the division back-to-back years. This club won 93 games and has added.
Yeah.
And that should make the Red Sox the favorite. Here's the 1-2 pitch to Travis. Rips out and caught by Robertson. Everybody will get back at first and second. Another hard hit shot.
He's not fooling anybody, that's for sure. That ball hit right on the button. Good thing someone was standing in the way.
And here comes the manager of the Rays, Cash. So Faria does not make it out of the first inning here this afternoon in his first spring training appearance. And he faces 7 batters and allows 3 runs and some lasers too. Red Sox on top 3-0. We'll have more in a moment. 60 months with equal payments and no minimum only at Jordan's Furniture, the furniture store of the Boston Red Sox. They lead Tampa Bay 3-0. They've knocked the starter Jake Faria out after just 2/3 of an inning. So Kevin Cash has to dip into the bullpen and bring on Ryan Yarbrough, left-hander, 6'5", about 210, who pitched at Durham last year in the minor leagues. Had a good year, 13-6, a 343 earned run average, 159 Ks. And you see a low walk total there, so he throws strikes.
Yeah, it's a guy that's been able to build his innings in each season that he's pitched. Through 157 innings last year, so it's decent, especially in the minor leagues. No major league time.
Now Faria leaving runners at first and second with 2 down for Devin Marrero. He's at second base here this afternoon. And that one's going to get away. The runner's trying to move up, and they will without a play from Sucre. So second and third.
Very nice job by the base runners with the Red Sox. Holt was off as soon as he saw the ball in the dirt. No chance of getting him. And then Sandy Leon made a move towards second base. If you see him in the picture, you see him go, but then he has to look to see what Holt is doing. So you have to make your move towards second, but make sure the guy in front of you is going too, and then they both move up easily.
So on the wild pitch, 2 men set to score. Although Sandy Leon is the trail runner. Devin 211 with 4 home runs with the Red Sox last season.
It has been a very long bottom of the first inning for that man. And a very productive one for Boston.
He might be having to get used to it.
I think many are predicting the same thing. On 4 straight, Marrero is on, becomes the second man to walk in the inning, and that's going to load up the bases for Steve Selski.
You know, you don't like to have to go through situations like the Tampa Bay Rays are in right now at the major league level. But there are a bunch of coaching changes on Kevin Cash's staff as well. And if nothing else, coaches love to coach. You know, it gives them a great opportunity to kind of impart the knowledge and help guys get better. A lot of pride taken in that of any coach.
All filled up for Selski at 215, 11 home runs for the Paw Sox last year. After a very hot spring, he made the opening day roster last year and appeared in 9 games before he was sent to AAA in April, late April. And he had an issue with concussions as well later in the summer. One ball and 1 strike, so the Red Sox will send at least 9 men to bat in the first. Red Sox have already had 1 grand slam so far in spring training, not in the Grapefruit League. It was against Northeastern the other day. That's something that the Red Sox did not do all of last season.
Washington hit that one.
Oh, that was an absolute bomb. Woo. Only question was fair or foul, and he hit it a mile. One and 2. And Yarbrough can't get him to chase. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Back to that home run swing. The grand slam cut the other day by Kyrie Washington.
Pretty swing, huh?
He was ready. Got a relief pitcher, and right away, first pitch.
Very first pitch that Ray hit, or Rye, was a foul ball home run.
Swing and a miss. Down he goes. Strike 3. That'll be all for the Red Sox, who scored 3 times to take a 3-0 lead after 1.
Flew Park. Well, after managing his first game on Thursday, Alex Cora said even though it was a college game, it was good to get into the flow of things. And he said that as a new manager, during the interviewing process, the fact that he's bilingual kept coming up with the Red Sox as well as with other teams. And he said that, speaking from experience, when he was a young player at the University of Miami, trying to communicate with coaches, sometimes things would get lost in translation when you need a translator. So, guys, I'm sure it's very beneficial for the younger players on this team, like Rafael Devers and Roenis Elias.
I think it's a great point, Garen, and I think that, the Red Sox wanted him right away. He was the guy they wanted. They really weren't looking at anyone else to become the new manager of the Red Sox, and that was a big part of it. And he understands nuance can be lost.
I mean, there are so many different languages in the game today, and certainly the Spanish language is one of the biggest. There are so many Spanish-speaking players. You got to be able to communicate with them. And he does it equally as well, Spanish or English.
So Elias with a 3-0 lead. Brandon Snyder did not love his time in left field in the first inning. They would take an aim at him. He was in the outfield for the Red Sox in 2013 for a bit. His dad pitched in the big leagues, and Brandon is a first cousin to San Francisco Giants ace Madison Bumgarner. And a 1-1.
Well, we saw the Rays try to pick on one guy for the Red Sox at first base. That didn't work out too well. And then the Red Sox decided to go to the left field, and that worked out really well. The stability that Moreland adds at first base for this ball club it's really game changing, really, for, your job over there is to make everyone else look better, and he does that every time.
Be there a lot, along with Hanley. 2-2 breaking ball, just got a piece of that. Well, Tampa Bay had, I think, a better season than many expected last year. They won 80 games, went 80-82. They finished third. But expectations very low this year. Although, it seems like Tampa Bay can always pitch. They always find arms.
Yep. Kevin Cash said that would be their strength. He goes, can we bang the ball with the Red Sox and the Yankees? We'll see. Probably not.
No, they can't.
Yeah. But, he has to be optimistic.
Even, last year when they had Longoria for a long stretch, they only hit 245, 239 against lefties.
Yeah.
It's been a dismal offensive attack on the Tampa Bay side.
He said what we will do is our pitching depth will help us, and we'll catch the ball.
Well, they have one of the great center fielders in baseball in Kiermaier, who has won 2 Gold Gloves and mentioned did not make the trip. But he didn't even win a Gold Glove last year in center field in the American League. That went to Byron Buxton of the Minnesota Twins. You might win some bets on that.
Yeah.
That it didn't go to Kiermaier. Jackie Bradley didn't win it. And it didn't go to Pilar of Toronto. Boy, that disappeared. Made a really fine pitch to Fan Snyder.
Excellent pitch. Bottom fell out of that one.
So Elias gets him. Schimpf up next.
Unhittable right there. And here we go with the shift.
Schimpf, the second baseman, hit a .158 with the San Diego Padres last year.
Now, so many teams with the shift and moving over, and the Red Sox did a fair amount of it, but not as much as many other clubs. I know that Alex Cora said that he does really want to look at shifting more than they did last year. If a player is going to prove to you he's not going to hit it to the opposite field, you might as well put a guy over there to catch it where he is going to hit it.
Well, it's changed the game in so many ways. And it has, and in my opinion, it's the #1 thing that has led to the proliferation of home runs in baseball, because that's why launch angles started. That's why players began to look at the game differently as far as hitting the ball on the ground. Hit the ball on the ground, you're out on a shift like this. You try to pull the ball here, you're out. Unless you can hit it in the air.
That's what Ted Williams used to say when they shifted on him. He always would say, you can't play high enough. It's going to be really hard for you to catch the ball when it's in the right field seats.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting to see how different teams employ their shift, too. I was listening to Bogaerts talk about how awkward it is for him being a shortstop, but playing on the second base side of short in case there's a double play situation. Like if there was someone on first base right now.
In there for strike 3, caught him looking.
Devers ends up effectively being the shortstop, and your shortstop's your second baseman. And so, check out the strikeout here. Is good breaking ball. But Bogey was saying, I'm not used to having my back to first base. I'm not a second baseman. I'm a shortstop. But in certain shift situations, I have to turn a double play like a second baseman. And he goes, that's something I'll really have to work a lot on down here.
So back-to-back Ks for Elias. Will send up Jesus Sucre to catcher. He'll be the backup to Wilson Ramos for the Rays. 256, 7 home runs last year. Major League Baseball had managers who shifted before Joe Madden, but with this Tampa Bay team all those years ago, he was the #1 proponent. He was the guy who led the charge for other managers to follow suit, and it revolutionized baseball. How many hits did Big Papi lose out on all of the years that he hit against Tampa Bay because of all those shifts? And then everybody was doing it, of course. But
he had said at least 50 a few seasons ago in 1 year alone. It's a lot of hits not to get. You know, the other school of thought is learn how to hit the ball the other way.
1-2 toward right. Selski there. Side retired. Another clean inning by Elias. Gets him 1, 2, 3. Red Sox ahead 3-0. What a great day to be out fishing. Nesson brought to you in part by Ace Ticket. Ace Ticket, where Red Sox fans go for tickets for all their favorite events, from sports to concerts. Ace has the best selection at the lowest prices. Visit aceticket.com or call 1-800-MY-SEATS. Steve Lyons and Dave O'Brien within. And my partner Jerry Remy continues to recover from his surgery and his treatment from cancer, and he is in great shape and getting ready to get down here to Florida and start broadcasting baseball, getting a lot of questions, a lot of well wishers for the Rem Dog. I want you to know he's doing great and can't wait to get here. He's itchy. Robertson knocks it down. The throw to first base, not in time. So another hard hit ball by Jackie Bradley, who's out of the gate very strong here in Florida.
So that was great hustle there too, because when Jackie hit that ball, it's a one hopper to the shortstop. It's a bullet. Jackie figures he's going to be out before he takes 2 steps out of the box, but he hustles the whole way. Then you get the bobble. Safe.
So Jackie will reach on an error. He singled and scored in the first inning. And here's Andrew Benintendi, who also had a base hit, scored a run in the first. With Devers on deck.
This is almost an odd alignment defensively against Benintendi. They're almost bunching the middle. Third baseman way off the line, shortstop up the middle, and then the second baseman not playing Benintendi to pull. He's up the middle too. This is where you talk about if you're going to hit the ball on the ground, and we talk so much, and we will talk more about launch angle and the way guys have been taught now, or trying to be taught to hit the ball up in the air. Left-handed hitting number 2 hitters love this situation with the big hole between first and second base.
You like him in the 2-hole for the regular season behind Betts?
I do. A lot for this reason right here. You hit a ground ball to the right side here, and it's first and third.
And he can also give you a 2-0 lead.
He can jump the yard quick.
It's very interesting to hear Alex Cora here in these early days of spring training, and you start to get a feel for what kind of manager he's likely to be and how he's going to manage in-game situations, and how his lineup is going to be affected by whether a right-hander or a left-hander is on the mound. And we were saying the other day, I'm not tied to lefty-righty as a philosophy. Just because it's a tough lefty doesn't mean I've got left-hand bats who are going to sit on that particular day. It depends on a lot of different factors, but it's not by rote.
Yeah, I think he's one of those guys, if you can hit, you can hit. And I don't care what hand the guy throws with. That gives players a lot of confidence when they step to the plate too, thinking, oh, I'm not going to get pinch hit for just because a lefty comes in. Or if we see 2 lefty starters in a certain city, I'm going to have 2 days off because I'm a left-handed hitter. It's not going to be that way.
He said he's also not going to be governed by short sample batter pitcher stats. Like, just because one guy is 2 for 5 lifetime against this right-hander, that doesn't mean he's going to play. Doesn't mean you're going to sit just because you don't have experience against him. What does 2 for 5 mean?
Yeah, and those stats can get so overblown too. It's like, he hits 400 against the Tampa Bay Rays. Well, guess what? The Tampa Bay Rays aren't even the Tampa Bay Rays anymore. Who are we talking about? Who did he hit 400 against?
Right. That staff may be gone.
Yeah.
Now look, you're 13 for 22 against somebody with 4 home runs. I get that. Jackie was in motion. Flick foul by Benintendi. But there's absolutely a shift in philosophy, and I think with the hiring of Tim Hires
as the new hitting coach for the Red Sox, you're going to see, let's put it this way, a real cutting edge idea of what the offense should look like. And for example, how Xander Bogaerts may approach what he's capable of doing differently than a year ago. And his ability to hit the ball out of the ballpark, to hit it in the air.
Well, I was in the backfields watching batting practice today, and it was a group with Benintendi and Bogaerts and Swihart and a few of the other guys. And one of the drills certainly was 5 pitches, hit them all in the air.
Hit them all in the air. Hit them all in the air, and they were kind of throwing like modified breaking balls, a little bit like a hanging breaking ball is what they were seeing.
In for ball 4. So another walk. Red Sox have already taken 3 of those, first and second, nobody out.
And that will be the philosophy. There's Timmy Hires right there. And I'll tell you, as you watch the bench and you see what's going on with Cora and Roenicke, those 2 guys will be in each other's back pocket for the entire season.
Ron Roenicke with managing experience for several years with Milwaukee.
Really smart guy. Spent most of his career also coaching in the Angels organization.
As had Joe Madden before he became a big league manager. So here's Devers, a double and an RBI his first time up. And Red Sox trying to add on here in the second inning against the Tampa Bay Rays. Bradley at second, Benintendi at first. And high and tight. One of the things you kept hearing about Rafael Devers, really from his very first big league at bat, mound visit here, we'll keep track of those. It's the new rule in baseball this season. You're allowed 6 over the course of the ball game. The thing you kept hearing about Devers from his teammates, from his coaches, longtime observers of the game, was the maturity in the batter's box. He has an idea. He knows what he's looking at. He's beyond his years in terms of recognition, pitch recognition, and game situation and what he should do with the bat. Over and above the fact he's a big, strong kid, and some are predicting he's going to hit 35 home runs.
You know, I love all of that. More than anything, I like watching him hit in the box. I like the strength of his hands. I mean, he's lightning quick hands, and I like his willingness to go the other way. He believes that he can hit home runs the other way.
Well, we know he can hit him to center field because in his very first major league hit, he crushed it in Seattle, and this is a big ballpark, as you know. And it just kept going and going. Nice start.
Oh, he talked about the young talent with Benintendi at first and now Devers at the plate. Both of those guys made their debut almost a year apart in August in Seattle. Big things to come from both of them, I think.
Sun ducking behind a cloud there as he tops that one to Schimpf. And we'll get him, and the runners advance to second and third. Bradley and Benintendi with one away. Mitch Moreland already with an RBI and a ground out to second, his first time up. So the runners move up. Mitch Moreland re-signed to a 2-year contract back in December. I think you'd have to say that he delivered probably as expected his first season with the Red Sox. He had a better season offensively than the previous year with Texas. Hit for a higher average, drove in more runs, he had more doubles. Got the infield in tight here.
You talked about the injury to the foot, slowed him down, and there was talk at times that they were overusing him. Maybe didn't necessarily sign him originally to be an everyday guy, and then with the injury to Hanley Ramirez, he found himself on the field maybe a little more often than they thought he was going to play, but still threw up some pretty good numbers.
He's been active defensively at first base already in this one.
Now, he's always going to bring his glove with him, that's for sure, and he makes the plays. That ball right there is make sure it's not going to get past him. And then just hit it where it's pitched.
Well, now trying to drive in his second run of the day. Sucre came up to gun. Jackie Bradley diving into third without a throw. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Now Moreland's doubles pace definitely slowed down in the second half. As you mentioned, he had the toe injury, the broken toe, but put up a lot of doubles early. He was a doubles machine.
Yes.
First couple of months.
Well, his swing is very well suited to Fenway Park at the left field wall. He likes to go the other way as well.
2-2. Brock Holt on deck. Jackie Bradley reaching on an error to begin the inning, and then Benintendi took a walk. Devers moved them up with a ground out. And Yarbrough taking his time here on the 2-2 pitch. No pitch clock in Major League Baseball this season. Many of us were convinced it was going to happen this year. I think it's a matter of time. I think it will be instituted 1 year soon. I would bet next year.
I was surprised it wasn't this year. And as you said, there was enough opposition. And I would assume from the pitchers that are in the game today that have never even thought about it before and like to take their time.
He got him. Foul tip to the mitt and held by Sucre to strike out Moreland.
It is in the minor leagues, so a lot of the pitchers that come through minor league systems are used to it when they get to the big league. So no big deal to them if they have to deal with it again.
I think generally players do understand that pace of play is an issue. It needs to be improved. I think they get it. Some just simply don't want to jump in with both feet right now, and I understand that too. Now that'll bring up Brock Holt, a double and a run in the first inning. Second and third, 2 away.
Brock Holt with a couple of hits in the game that didn't count in the Grapefruit League numbers against Northeastern. Pulled one ball to right field for a base hit, hit another one the other way. Typical Brock Holt.
A big crowd again here at JetBlue. The Red Sox have sold out each of their last 107 Grapefruit League games. Now in the 7th spring training at Fenway South. To the second baseman Schimpf to retire the side. So a threat for the Red Sox, but do not score. Boston on top 3-0 at the end of 2. Dugout is the first and only field level private space at Fenway. This brand new experience puts you and your guests closer to the action than ever before. Email premium sales at redsox.com or call 617-226-6912 to learn more about the Jim Beam Dugout. Noenis Elias pitched very well in his first couple of innings in spring training. In fact, shutout stuff today, a couple of strikeouts. 2 perfect frames. It gives way to Brandon Workman. Big right-hander. Now 29 years old. Won a World Series with the Red Sox in 2013. And expecting to be a key man in the bullpen for Alex Cora.
Came out of nowhere in that 13 World Series and pitched brilliantly, didn't he?
Was missed all of 2015 because of that right elbow injury and Tommy John surgery. Made it all the way back from that. They'll take on 7, 8, 9 for Tampa Bay. Coates, McCarthy, and Robertson.
Workman's always been the definition of a power arm. Just relentless, keeps coming right at you.
Last year appearing in 33 games for the Red Sox and threw it well. 3.18 ERA, 1-1 record. Red Sox will try and get in Heath Hembree today as well, along with Kyle Martin. And a 2-1. High chop and a fair ball down the line off the side fence. It caroms to Holt. That's going to be a long single. Red Sox got a fortunate bounce into that short fence. So Coates on with a leadoff single.
Another one of those plays that a shortstop doesn't generally have to think too much about as you see that stay fair. Not too many ballparks where the shortstop has to field this ball off the short fence there, bouncing back into the field of play, right back to Brock Holt, and he makes the play to make sure that they hold him to a single.
And the flow bro all the way to the other side of the diamond.
Yeah, he's a singular flow bro now.
It's because Benintendi has cut his locks.
Tightened it up.
I mean, really tight. It's a completely different look, although a look he's had before. It's just that when he first came, to the big league level, the Red Sox, it was the long hair look, and that's what everyone came to know Andrew by.
And he became a matinee item. And if you didn't know better, you'd say, well, wait a minute. That's the same dude.
Good hair, too, that's for sure. You can grow it.
Expectations are high when that's one of the top 3 or 4 things people are talking about in your camp, is whether Andrew Benintendi is going to grow it back or not.
He told me his hair grows so fast. He said if I wanted to grow it back, it wouldn't take long, but he said he's planning on kind of keeping it clean all year. Guys are superstitious, man. Something happens, you want to change something, you want to change your look, you want to change something.
Knocked down. Nice play by Sandy Leon, holding runner at first base. Coates. Red Sox leading it here 3-0 in the top half of the third. Very nice of you to join us today. Wish you were here. Temperatures in the middle 80s. Not that bad back home. We were told they make an announcement here inside JetBlue before every game what the temperature is in Boston at the time of the first pitch here. Sometimes it's in the 30s, sometimes it's the 20s. Today not bad. It was 54.
That's not bad. Hey, you look at the defensive alignment there and the situation we talked about before with Devin Marrero over there. If the ball gets bounced to Devers, Devin Marrero technically is your second baseman, which he is playing. But like you look at like you see Brock Holt in this shift. Brock Holt is your shortstop today, and he's playing second base. So it changes your responsibility on a double play ball.
3-2 to McCarthy. Right field backing up Selsky. He's there to make the play. Coach retreats, 1 away. So a man out for the number 9 hitter, Daniel Robertson. Red Sox now 55 players in camp. 27 pitchers, 6 catchers. One of the more interesting stories to watch, to follow here in Fort Myers will involve a catcher in Blake Swihart. He's made a comeback from pretty serious injury to that ankle, and it's off to a nice start so far here in Fort Myers. Christian Vasquez caught yesterday, Sandy Leon today. And the 0-1 from Workman. Third baseman Devers backs up on a fair ball, slings that one into right field. Guerrero could not get to it. Down to third safely, Coates. And Robertson in at first base on a misfire by Devers.
That was a tough play from the get-go. Devers wanted to charge that ball, then he decided to back off of it. That kind of messed up his timing getting this throw off. Tried to hurry it to get it down to second base and just didn't make a good throw. That will be the problem area for Rafael Devers, working on his defense.
Yeah, it's still very much a work in progress.
Yes.
At his age. So top of the order in Mallex Smith, who's 0 for 1. He's grounded out to first. Be a tough guy to double up because he's got wheels. And up on the left side. Nothing in 2 as Workman gets in front. Mallex Smith, the meticulous note taker, logs his own personal scouting report after every game, we're told, and can be seen in the dugout taking notes in game, games that he's playing in. Puts his own little report together after every ball game.
You can look at scouting reports and the information and the metrics and all that stuff that's available to the players all day long if you want, but none of it will compare to your actual experience when you're standing in the box watching what a pitcher's doing to you.
Oh, 2. Matt Duffy on deck. Tampa Bay third baseman who missed all of last year with a heel injury. As mentioned, Longoria was traded to the San Francisco Giants. So a handful of guys you thought were the face of the club. Hard to figure sometimes who is the face of the club for the Rays. It's going to be harder still this year with all of the recent departures. I'd say still most definitely Chris Archer. He's a very charismatic ball player and a heck of a pitcher. 3-2 to count. So runners on the corners here for the Rays. Smith, the guy in season you got to watch as far as laying down a bunt. He's a very good bunter.
If you can run like he runs, that has to be part of your game.
And he walks him, so that'll fill up the bases. And that'll bring out Dana Levangie, his first year now as the Red Sox pitching coach after several seasons in the bullpen. A base hit, a throwing error, and a walk, and they're all filled up for Duffy.
Levangie's been a lifer in the Red Sox organization, so well respected by all the players on this team.
His 28th season in professional baseball, his entire career in the Red Sox organization. He was the bullpen coach from 2013 through last year. But many changes on that coaching staff. A lot of new faces. Here's Duffy now. He's 0 for 1. Red Sox looking to turn a double play and get out of the inning. They're on top 3-0. So Workman looking for that ground ball. Now you look inside the division. We've talked a lot about the Rays and how a lot of the pieces they were counting on are gone already, even before the regular season gets underway. And everyone's looking at the Red Sox and the Yankees obviously as favorites, but you still have Toronto and Baltimore as well. Hammered deep short, through for a base hit, Coates is in to score. 1 run in on the RBI single by Duffy, and Tampa Bay is on the board. So Matt Duffy, got to be delighted to be back in a big league uniform after sitting out all of last year.
That's how you can get yourself in trouble as a pitcher. Start walking guys and then giving up the base hits to score the runs here. That ball just unplayable. Easy base hit to the left side. Brock Holt now is all over the field, shifting back to the other side again.
That's a guy who plays just about every position anyway.
Yeah, and playing him twice.
Bauer's looking at a strike. He's 0 for 1 with a pop to first. I think that really shook the tree of Tampa Bay was when they designated for assignment Corey Dickerson as spring training was getting underway. Not that he's a superstar, but he had agreed to a contract for a year. A guy who hit 27 home runs for them last year. He was their all-star representative.
He was a superstar in terms of what they have to offer as a club.
So when they made that move, and they brought in Crone from the Angels, so they've filled that gap, but still it shook a lot of people up inside their clubhouse. And the trade of Odorizzi to the Twins, losing a starter, they were counting, at least in the clubhouse they were. Bases are all loaded up with a run in, only 1 out here. Bauer's a guy with a little bit of power, left-handed power at the minor league level, had 13 home runs last year at Durham. And that is in there for a strike, and he will take a seat. And here comes Cora. So 2 down. Brandon Snyder was about to step in. Cora coming out, and the day is done for Workman. Caught him looking. Bases all loaded up, but the Red Sox will go to the bullpen, and we'll have more in just a moment. Best seats, price, and benefits the Red Sox have to offer. Plans start at 10 games. They're available right now. For more information, you can go to redsox.com/season tickets or call 877 Red Sox 9 today. Daniel Gonzalez coming out of the bullpen here for the Red Sox, and he inherits a bases loaded situation after Workman just struck out the last batter he faced.
A pretty good season last year, bouncing between a couple teams in the minor leagues. 7-3 with a 3.39 ERA.
Yeah, 113 Ks and 116 2/3. And he'll get Brandon Snyder, who struck out in the second inning, 0 for 1. Red Sox trying to limit the damage here to 1 run in the third.
One of the things that makes Gonzalez a little tough is the way he delivers the ball. He hides it well. He kind of crossfires. It's a little bit of what we call a slinger.
Slender right-hander. Two 2-0 on the stop by Sandy Leon.
Pitchers that throw across their body like Gonzalez does just makes them a little harder to pick up. It's hard for you as the hitter to pick up the release point of when this guy's going to let go of the ball so you can hit it.
The 2-0 did not throw a strike. So he's fallen behind 3-0 on Snyder. Ryan Schimpf on deck. Robertson, Smith, and Duffy aboard for Tampa Bay. Now all the way to the backstop there on ball 4, so that's going to bring in a run. Nowhere near the plate. So that'll make it 3-2 as Robertson scores.
That's the problem for a pitcher. If you're that type of a pitcher where you're kind of slinging it across your body, it makes your release point a little more difficult to stay consistent with. And right now, he's not sure where it is.
So Snyder will pick up the RBI, the bases loaded free pass, and that brings up Schimpf.
Just hanging on to the ball just way too long and throwing it right into the dirt.
Lefty batter 0 for 1. He was called out on strikes in the second inning by Elias.
And so far, he's not been able to throw a strike. Sox and the Orioles tomorrow afternoon at 1 o'clock here from JetBlue. Brian Johnson, remember that great moment when he tossed a complete game at Fenway Park last summer. He will get the start. Finally in there for a strike. And among the veterans we'll also see tomorrow, expected Joe Kelly, Matt Barnes, Carson Smith, and Robbie Scott.
You got Malik Smith. Look at his lead off of third base. He is halfway home. There's not a person in the ballpark that can do anything about it.
I mean, the slightest bobble by Sandy Leon, he's going to scamper home.
Yeah, big shift on. Devers is playing shortstop virtually. Everyone else on the right-hand side of the field. And Smith is getting a lead halfway home. He'll come further. Here he comes.
2-2.
And if you're Smith, it's not like he's messing around down there or anything. He's taking full advantage of what you're offering him, and that is
nobody paying attention to him, and a chance to score on a little bit of a bobble, as you mentioned, or a pass ball. Just taking full advantage of what the Red Sox are playing defensively here.
Cut on and missed. He struck him out. Nice job by Gonzalez to bounce back and leaves him loaded. 3-2 Red Sox. Bottom of the third, we go to Garen Austin with a special guest, Mike Myers.
Hey, thanks, Obi. I'm here with former Red Sox pitcher Mike Myers. Mike, what's it like being back at Red Sox spring training?
Oh, it's a lot of fun. Makes me miss actually playing.
Well, you are training for something special. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Training for the Boston Marathon this year. So first time running a marathon, looking forward to it. And then it's the running's been great.
Well, you are running for a special reason. Share with us why.
Helping raise money for ALS. I'm running to support the Angel Fund, which is big in the Boston area. And ALS, so it's at the heart of Boston. Being there doing the marathon, I think it's going to be perfect.
Why did you decide to get involved with this organization?
I got involved in the organization because there's some people that we know that have in touch with ALS. Great friends of ours, Mike Tillman, another former Red Sox. His mom passed away because of ALS. And so to be able to support him and do this for the Angel Fund it's right at the heart of what I would like to do.
Well, great. Well, you told me earlier that you have a page where fans can go and support your run. Tell us about that.
It is. If they go to runsignup.com/Mike Myers, MIKEMYERS, they can go on there and make any type of donation they want. And then anybody that makes a donation of $100 or more, I'm going to personally send them a thank you, 8x10 photograph signed to that person. There's a little side note they can put in their address for it, and I'll be the only one to see that.
It's a wonderful cause, and good luck with their running and good luck with their fundraising.
Thank you. Looking forward to it. Looking forward to the finish line most of all.
I'll bet. Okay, I'll be able to go ahead and throw it back to you.
Karen, Mike, thank you very much. He looks like in great shape. He looks like he'll have no trouble with that. Easy for me to say. I'm never going to try it, but great cause for Mike as well. And rocking that 2004 World Series ring very proudly.
Yes, he was. You like to fold your arms when you're wearing that ring.
Yes, style. A base hit for Sandy Leon against Matt Andriese, who's the new pitcher for Tampa Bay. Of course, one of their starters, made 17 starts last year. Veteran went 5-5 with a 4.50 ERA. And doing battle with Sam Travis here. Sam with a line to short. First time up, he's 0 for 1. Game has tightened up as Tampa Bay scored a couple of times and got some help in the top of the third. Andriese now in his 4th major league season. Began last year as the number 5 starter and had a couple of trips to the DL with a hip injury. So he missed a lot of time. He missed about 80 ball games. Runner on at first and nobody out here in the third. Andriese, the third pitcher to be used by
the Rays so far today, and the 1-2 is hammered foul.
That's about that time in a spring training game where the revolving door starts to twirl. Lots of changes on both sides.
Now, for the first week or so of spring training games, major league teams do not have to bring a certain allotment from the 25-man roster. As Travis comes up empty on a swing and a miss, and down he goes, strike 3. So you will see, I think, more players that you are very unfamiliar with. And if you're unfamiliar with them, we may well be too in many occasions. So when number 99's in there or number 86, we're scuffling at times to find out exactly who that is, believe me.
Sometimes I think the PR staffs like to play tricks on us, too. They'll put guys in there that are going to be in a game, but you can't find them on a roster anywhere. There's no name on their back. You don't know who they are.
Yep. So, you know, I've got Freddie Lynn in center field, and I've got Yaz over at first base. You got to have a little fun.
What's his name in left?
What's his name? Who makes a regular appearance every spring. Dev Marrero here, 0-1 on him, 1 down, a runner at first base. Red Sox up by a run. And the reason that Major League Baseball is not enforcing that rule of carrying 4 guys off the 25 when you travel to spring training sites, because the games are beginning earlier this year. It won't be until March 1 where that rule will be enforced. New this year. And games beginning in March this year, March 29th. Heath Hembree getting loose in the bullpen. And a 1-1 to Marrero. He took ball 4 in the first inning. Steve Selsky on deck. Red Sox got off to a very nice start here this afternoon, getting 3 runs right away. Jackie Bradley got it going with a solid base hit. He would score. Andrew Benintendi with a base hit.
He would score. And Rafael Devers doubled in a run. He would later score. Brock Holt also had a double and drove in a run in the first inning.
Red Sox following the philosophy of Tony La Russa. I talked to him earlier. He said, fast start, finish strong.
Marrero down on strikes, and so they're 2 away. Well, he always did that as a big league manager. Obviously an incredibly successful major league manager. Always understood the value of getting on top right away, and how that tilts the odds dramatically in your favor to be the first team to score.
He said baseball's a funny game where sometimes it takes teams 3 innings to settle in. You want to jump them during those 3 innings.
Before they settle in.
Yeah.
Up and in on Selsky, who struck out first inning. Steve, a little bit of pop, hit 11 home runs for the Paw Sox last year, despite missing some time to a concussion. Jackie Bradley on deck. To the shortstop, Robertson, to retire the side. 1 man left, still 3-2 Red Sox. Join us on NESN as the Red Sox take on the Yankees at 1 p.m. We will be joined by people from all over New England to hear the amazing stories about the Red Sox Foundation has positively impacted their lives. And for more information, you can visit RedSoxFoundation.org. The Red Sox Foundation Game on NESN, presented by Biogen Foundation, igniting a passion for science. To the 4th inning, Red Sox on top 3-2 here on Tampa Bay. As mentioned, Heath Hembree to make an appearance here this afternoon, a right-hander. The Red Sox used a lot last year.
Yeah, 62 appearances. Hopefully wants to even improve on that this season. ERA up over 3.6.
And hoping for a spot in the bullpen of Alex Cora. About to take on Sucre, Coates, and McCarthy, the scheduled hitters. Red Sox opening up with a lineup today that had Benintendi in left and Bradley in center, Devers at third. Sandy Leon doing the catching. Moreland at first base. Brock Holt at shortstop. And Evan Marrero at second base. So a lot of men, obviously, from the starting lineup in the 25. Sucre 0 for 1. He is flied out to right. Last year, 256 and 7 home runs for Tampa Bay as the backup.
Wilson Ramos will most likely get the bulk of the duty behind the plate.
Yeah, they're pretty solid at the catching spot. That's not an area of concern. They have a lot of areas of concern, but that's not one of them.
Well, I'll tell you what. The guys that were really happy about the moves that the Tampa Bay Rays made this offseason and even into the season were the younger players in this organization. They're going to get opportunities to show if they can play at the major league level. They're going to get chances to play and establish their own careers. And every player needs that opportunity at some point.
And become stars in their own right.
Yeah, and it's great if you're playing on a team where you can establish yourself, and the team is a good team as well. But at the end of the day, as a player, you have to find a way to get your opportunity to play and show people what you can do. And many times that happens on a bad team.
A little worm killer out to second base and a short throw, but scooped up by Moreland. So one man gone. Jason Coates will be next. Coates with a base hit and a run scored his first time up.
Blake Swihart sitting in the bench there. He looked like he was in the witness protection plan there with the beard and the glasses and the hat. It was hard to tell who it was.
Yeah, I mean, kind of mixes right in with Marrero and Moreland, for example.
Yeah.
Talking to Blake the other day, and you know, he's one of those guys you really root for because he's been through quite a bit with a nasty injury, you know, change of position. But a guy who's very intriguing because he's such a superb athlete and he can swing the bat. So, you know, he's out of options. Got to make the ball club where you have to waive him, right? So now you're in a spot where you really need to take a long, hard look at what his role will be. He's very excited about being able to play all over the place. You can catch him, maybe a little infield. He has the outfield experience. Although it did not go great in terms of the injury. High fly into left field. It hangs up for Benintendi. Out number 2.
Obviously, you know, there's a few guys on this team. I think 3 that are out of options that you have to really look at. Marrero being one of those.
That's Joe McCarthy now. Is 0 for 1 with a line to right.
The other option, of course, is for the team to potentially make a trade. A lot of things to have to deal with if you're Dave Dombrowski on this team with the guys. Who's going to make the club? Where are they going to play? What do you do with the guys that are out of options?
Red Sox with an overshift on. As Brock Holt has gone from shortstop to shallow right field. In between Marrero and Moreland.
So Holt's played right field, second base, and short so far today.
Pretty much.
And he got that carom off the short fence over there in left field, so he could probably add that position too. He doesn't have to do any sprints after the game. He's done them during the game, back and forth from short to second base.
Drilled in there for a strike by Heath Hembree. Looking for a 1-2-3 inning.
Funny thing is on that, no matter where Brock Holt goes and wherever, if he makes a play right now, it's scored in your book as 6-3.
That is correct. Even though he's essentially playing where Dustin Pedroia plays all the time when he's playing second base. So you talk about caroms, and that play Pedroia made last year in Texas still boggles my mind. That carom play off the brick down the right field line.
Yeah.
The fact that he was even there, and then to do what he did after that, pitching forward, making that great little flip to Moreland, who was backpedaling to get back to first base. It required great awareness by Moreland as well. And for me, it was one of the top 2 or 3 plays the Red Sox made all summer long.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what you talked about right there is so correct. I mean, it's the awareness of the other players. One guy can go out and make a great play, but if he doesn't have help from his other infielders, he won't be able to pull it off. What if Moreland just thought, oh, this ball's by me?
Gave up on it.
Yeah.
What if he had done that?
Gives up on it. That play never happens.
Yeah, the quick reaction by Pedroia was off the charts. I mean, talk about awareness. And I think he said later, he gave a lot of credit to Brian Butterfield, Butter now with the Chicago Cubs, who told him before the game and told everybody, remember, guys, this is brick over here. This isn't padding, and anything thrown over here is going to ricochet, so be ready for that. That's another thing, to be ready and keep that in your head and actually play it off that stuff, which they both did brilliantly by Pedroia, but that was some play. Funny the moments you remember, from 162 games and then some.
And a 93-win season.
93 wins and some really, really fun moments. And that was one of them on a hot summer night in Texas. Daniel Robertson here. He scored a run in the 3rd inning. A man at first base after the ball 4 to McCarthy. Red Sox will have due up in the 4th inning when they come to bat. Bradley, Benintendi, and Devers scheduled to hit. And a 1-1. He snuck it in there. 1-2.
Ooh, look out.
Robertson staying away from that. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Yeah, you can hear that one coming at you. You better hope you see it.
McCarthy with his lead, and that is in there for strike 3. Came back with a dandy to Fan Robertson. 1 left. Red Sox up by 1. Great day for the Gators here in Florida. This presentation of Red Sox Spring Training on NESN is brought to you by Ace Ticket. It's more than a ticket. Visit aceticket.com or call 1-800-MY-SEATS. And by Jordan's Furniture, the furniture store of the Boston Red Sox. Sox up by a run here in the bottom half of the 4th inning. And Tampa Bay to make a couple of changes, and one of them is Dustin McGowan, the new pitcher. Wong will take over at third base for Duffy. McGowan with Miami last year, used a lot, 8-2 in 63 appearances. And Wong, the new man at third base. Here's Jackie Bradley. Jackie with a base hit, and he's reached on there. He's hit the ball hard twice. Jackie 245, 17 home runs, 63 driven in 2017. Did spend some time on the disabled list, in fact twice, with a sprained knee and a sprained thumb. Andrew Benintendi on deck, and then Rafael Devers. Day off today for Mookie Betts, who played yesterday. So did Xander Bogaerts, as Jackie hammers that one off himself. Steve Lyons was not working either yesterday, but he showed up anyway. Didn't work the game. He had stuff to do for NESN. And then you went out and you did what you're supposed to do. You hit the links, right?
Actually, I played early in the morning, so I could get here for the game. Yes.
Gotcha. Yeah. How'd you shoot him?
I hit him a lot.
1,
Drove
2.
the ball well.
You just drove it well.
Can't hit an approach shot to save my life.
Drove it a long way.
Oh, big hitter, the llama.
Many trees. Actually, all of you guys who played professional sports, you all try to downplay your golf talents. And you do it on purpose because you're sandbaggers. You're trying to get into my wallet and everybody else's wallet. I know how the game is played. I'm not some kid who just, tumbled off the truck. So you're not getting any of my money.
Well, I got to get you out there first.
You guys all have that natural hand-eye coordination. You just crush it. And the rest of us sit there and go, yeah, I'll take my little 175 yards.
It's all about hitting it straight. That's that second shot.
It's all about the second shot. In some of our cases, it's about the 6th, 7th, and 8th shot. Pretty well hit, deep left field, backing up Snyder. He's turning around. That ball is going to be off the wall, and Jackie scampers into second base. He's really swinging it well here his first few days of spring training. A 2-base hit. He's 2 for 3 on the day.
Yeah, we kind of got on Snyder before on a couple plays that he made out there. Watch the pitch. That ball's going to be just down and away from Jackie, and he just goes down there and digs it out. This is perfect. And then right away, Snyder turns around and says, let me play this up off the wall. I know I have no chance of catching it. He's trying to position himself so he can get the ball back in as efficiently as possible. He did a nice job, but it doesn't matter. He hit it that high off the wall for Jackie. That's a double.
Well, Tavares will come on to run for him, but a nice day for Jackie. A single, a double, and ripped the one hopper that ate up the shortstop for an error. So Benintendi trying to give the Red Sox a little additional breathing room. He has a base hit and a walk on the day. Mookie Betts and Andrew Benintendi were the only teammates in baseball to record at least 20 home runs and 20 stolen bases each last year. In Benintendi's case, was 20 homers and 20 steals. Mookie with 24 and 26 thefts. Part of an outfield that many believe is the best in baseball. Toward the hole, scooped up by Bowers to feed the pitcher, and that'll get the runner Tavares down to third. So one away, and a man 90 feet away for Rafael Devers. Rafael today with an RBI double. He's also grounded out, so he's 1 for 2.
Took sort of a, I think you said he kind of flipped it to left field. It was like kind of a defensive swing, but man, he still hit it so hard. Straight over the head of the left fielder. Snyder didn't know what to do to try to catch it. It just kept going.
They'll tug the infield in again. And to move his feet to get out of the way. Ball 1. Name a player in camp more intriguing. right now than Rafael Devers. 21 years old, coming off 10 home runs in 58 games last year, and not counted among those an inside the park home run in the playoffs.
Yeah, you know, I mean, I think he got himself in a little trouble last year when he got a little pull happy. And here's the way he looks when he swings the bat. He's just got such a pretty swing, such quick hands. Look at that's that swing with the double. He was out in front a little bit, and then he just hit it over there with his hands, with his wrists.
Sucre looking for room, cradles that, makes the play, and Devers upset with himself on that swing. As he pops to the catcher, runner has to hold at third, and they're a two-away. I think what you're talking about there was, as we showed you the replay with the double, I mean, that's strong hands to be able to do that.
Yeah, most of us, if you're a left-handed hitter, you flip at a ball like that. If you get it over the third baseman's head and it drops in for a base hit, you're happy. That thing short hopped the wall.
Well, the inning began with promise. Jackie Bradley with a double. He is now out for the pinch runner, but runner at third base, two away. Mitch Moreland 0 for 2 with an RBI. The sun back out, shining very brightly. Weather's been just outstanding. 0-2 on Mitch. Red Sox still have not made an official announcement on the signing of JD Martinez. If that should happen at some point today, obviously we will bring you those details immediately.
Obviously, it raises questions. People are wondering, what are they waiting for? What's going on?
Yeah, there's been nothing forthcoming there. I've been told by several sources it's logistics.
Yeah, that's not a 2-page contract.
He's had a couple of injuries in his past. As you said the other day, it's $110 million you're talking about, and a player's health. 1-2, nice stop there by Sucre.
Yeah, I mean, both sides want to make sure they have their ducks in a row. I mean,
but if it goes on much longer without an announcement, I think that you're going to see a lot of eyebrows raised. But right now, I don't think that's the case or the feeling in the camp. Red Sox would like very much to introduce him to Red Sox Nation. At 2-2. And down goes Moreland. That will retire the side, so nothing comes of the leadoff double. Red Sox up by a run. Return to Fenway Park this season, including player bobbleheads, gnomes, and much more. For tickets and more information on the entire giveaway lineup, you can visit redsox.com/promo. So all the giveaways will be listed there. If you're a gnome person or a bobblehead person, you make your decision right now. Which way do you go on that?
Bobblehead.
Bobblehead, you're an old schooler.
Yeah.
Well, a number of changes here for the Red Sox. Bobby Pointer will be the new pitcher. He's a Florida kid out of the West Palm area. See his numbers in the minor leagues where he threw the ball very well and was a closer, 149 earned run average. That's several changes for the Red Sox. Rusney Castillo now in the game in left field, so the day is done for Andrew Benintendi. Got himself a base hit. Tavares stays in the game. He came on for Jackie Bradley. He's in center field. Akemi is taken over at first base for Moreland. Now we'll get to the rest of those in just a moment. First one in there for a strike. Fifth inning, Red Sox up 3-2. And the 0-1. Holt taken over at third base. Espinal at shortstop. If you're scoring at home. Marrero and Selski staying in the game as starters at second base and right field. So you are, as they say, Steve, up to date. Alex Smith bends away high and tight. I mentioned Dan Butler behind the plate taking over for Leon. And a 1-2 from Pointer. Floated to left. That's where Castillo is for 1 out.
Hey, kind of ran over some of those numbers for Pointer. I mean, those are no joke. I was getting it done. There was a lot of appearances there, 60 appearances, and the numbers you're throwing out there with the ERA and the potential for being a stopper. This guy knows how to pitch.
Bobby now 25 years old from the beautiful town of Wellington, Florida, which is the winter horse capital of America, basically. Popped up a mile in the air, Holt underneath it. And there are 2 down.
Particularly horse jumping. Huge there in Wellington. Do you wonder why I know so much about Wellington?
You've covered it.
Please stop. Please stop. I get it. I get the hint.
No, I'm just wondering, what's a winter? They bring all the horses down from the summer so they don't have to go through the winter, or they're like snowbirds?
Yes, the weather is far better for the horses and for the athletes. Yeah.
I was going to say, what's a summer horse?
Yeah, well.
And that's the area where everyone goes, huh?
You know who's big into it? Who has a lot of interest in it, and I think money involved, is Bruce Springsteen, actually. Billy Joel too. 1, 2, 3 they go. Pointer will tell you all about Wellington, but throws the ball very well. 3-2 Red Sox. JetBlue Park at our first look at the Orioles here in the spring. First pitch 1 p.m. only on NESN. Red Sox spring training games on NESN brought to you by Old Dominion, the official freight carrier of Major League Baseball and the Boston Red Sox. Steve and I will be back on the air at 1 tomorrow. So another opponent inside the division. About to get a look at Jose Alvarado, the left-hander. Appeared in 35 games for the Rays last year.
Bounced up and down a little bit, spent some time in the minor leagues, had 25 games down there as well.
Espano's taken over at shortstop. After Brock Holt started there today, doubled in a run, he went 1 for 2. And Tampa Bay's made a number of changes as well, along with the pitcher.
Holt could have gone longer into this game, but he got tired from running back and forth from short to second all day long.
Yeah. There's a man on the move with all that shifting. Dan Butler's taken over at catcher for the Red Sox, is on deck. And that's going to be ball 4. So the Red Sox have the leadoff man on here in the 5th. Red Sox have not scored since the first on them, and they got 3 quick ones against Faria and the Rays. There's the catcher, Dan Butler. Sandy Leon was aboard twice today with a walk and a base hit. Dan, 31-year-old out of Phoenix, Arizona. Has seen time at the big league level for the Red Sox. That was back in 2014. So opening day on March 29th. This will be the 4th time the Red Sox play an opening day game in March. It's been a recent thing for the most part. They opened seasons before April in 2003 and 08 and again in 2014. 2008, you may recall, was at the Tokyo Dome.
Yeah. Had to start early.
And that was against Tampa Bay. I should say that was against Oakland. The year before was against Tampa Bay. Remember, the Red Sox were allowed to take a little bit of a breather on the way back from Japan and open the regular season, the next part of the regular season, against the American League West. Tapper to third base, and Butler retired. Espanola down to second. Wong with a stop at third base, and 1 man gone, runner in scoring position. But it still didn't go over great because a lot of the players were still exhausted trying to get back on U.S. time.
Yeah, in theory, it sounds like a great trip. Not very practical when you actually have to do it.
There are a lot of benefits to something like that, obviously, from Major League Baseball, and for a lot of guys and their families, it was a wonderful trip, something they may never do again.
Sure.
And some players felt like, I never want to do it again. It was tough on the body. Sam Travis looking to pick up an RBI's line to short and struck out today, 0 for 2. I went many years before that Red Sox trip, had gone for an all-star trip that I got a chance to broadcast a bunch of games all over Japan. I had an amazing time. Got a chance to ride the bullet train, well over 200 miles an hour. And, you know, there's Mount Fuji, and all of a sudden you're in Tokyo, which is the largest city I've ever been in my life.
Yeah, with a lot of people.
Just goes and goes and goes. And they told us on the flight over, don't tip anybody. No gratuities. Deep fly to center field. That's well hit. Johnson underneath it will make the catch shy of the warning track, tagging up Espanola. He's into third base and stopping there. And there are 2 down. Let's get on to Garen.
Thanks, Obi. Well, you guys mentioned this a little bit earlier, but Andrew Benintendi showed up at Winter Weekend looking noticeably different, and that is because he put on about 20 pounds, and he said he was really trying to gain that weight in his lower half to really generate more power, but also because he cut his hair. He told me that he had several weddings in the off-season, but he just doesn't understand the fascination with his hair. He said he wished he'd never grown it out in the first place. But Joe Kelly did put out a tweet that he is growing his hair, so there is a spot. He's ready if he needs to be one of the Flow Bros, along with Brock Holtz.
Well, that makes sense. Joe would jump in there and take that spot if required.
Yeah,
he's ready
if there's an opening.
Yes, I get it. You know, I've got daughters. I get it. I know exactly why it was such a big deal. I think he broke hearts all over New England by cutting his hair.
Cutting off the curly locks.
Marrero takes a breaking ball for a strike. He's walked and struck out. Man at third base and 2 down. 3-2 Sox trying to win their second consecutive spring training game in the Grapefruit League. Those first 2 games against Northeastern and Boston College do not count in the standings in spring training. And in there, strike 3. That one froze him to retire the side. A runner left at third base. Or premier games against the Yankees. Limited hospitality packages remain for those in most games. Visit RedSox.com/groups for more information. Steve Lyons, Dave O'Brien, and Garen Austin with you here from Fenway South, JetBlue Park. Glorious day. Red Sox on top 3-2. Mostly sunny skies today, mid-80s. Red Sox will make a couple of changes here as we bring you the 6th inning. Kyle Martin will take over on the hill. Right-hander and one of the tallest guys in camp at 6'6", and that second baseman who just made that play down at second is Esteban Quiroz.
You did not have to say that. You just love saying his name so much.
I think I wish I had a name like that.
Yeah.
It's got an elegant ring to it. Brandon Snyder has struck out. He's also walked with the bases loaded today to pick up an RBI. Red Sox striking for 3 in the first inning. Tampa Bay got a pair in the third. That's been the scoring. Although the Red Sox about hit Tampa Bay 6-2.
Martin threw 53 2/3 innings in Pawtucket last year. Made a couple of appearances in a Red Sox uniform.
Made his major league debut in July against Toronto. Not a lot of talk about the Blue Jays anymore. You know, almost like, I hate to say it, but it's almost like an afterthought at this point when you talk about the American League East. You know, there's such a perceivable gap, many experts will tell you, between the Red Sox, the Yankees, and everybody else in the AL East. Is that fair?
Well, I think it is fair. I think that those are the two teams that went out and made themselves better, and they already proved that they were an excellent ball club before. But I could tell you what, there's no team in the East that's going to lie down. Toronto's always tough. They have some gamers on that team that won't allow the rest of the guys to just mail it in.
You know, that feeling that with the Blue Jays, that window closed. You know, in the years when they had Bautista and Encarnacion and some other guys, obviously still Donaldson's a great player, but you know, when they had those guys together, that triumvirate, that was their window.
Yeah.
And that's gone now.
And you know, you look at an organization like that.
That one tagged high and deep down the line, but he really yanked it foul off the bat of Snyder.
You know, you have to wonder whether they do something similar to what Tampa Bay has done, where you start sloughing off all that you can to get prospects back and let those guys mature and get better and see if you can get another crop of excellent players to put together 4 years later, 5 years later, maybe.
Right. 2-2. Cut on and missed. He struck him out. Butler will have to collect and throw. So Snyder is retired. Of course, the Red Sox right away, as you look at the strikeout again, will be seeing the Miami Marlins of Derek Jeter, who is certainly the face of that organization now that Stanton is a Yankee. And Derek Jeter has, for the first time in his career, he's had to deal with some controversy. Because, you know, they've kind of blown up the ball club and they're starting over again, and they've traded away and done a lot of things with very popular players that haven't gone over well with their fan base, which has been a dwindling fan base, and he's trying to grow it again. He's trying to make them, you know, legitimate again, and that's going to take some time. But, you know, he's had a couple of town meetings with fans, and they haven't treated him like the god he was in New York by any means. They want a product on the field.
Well, they got rid of Billy DeMartin. Come on. You know?
Yes.
That's just sad.
Terrible.
When that happens.
Yeah.
You can understand the outrage from the fans.
Well, they got rid of a lot of faces like Jeff Conine and Andre Dawson and Tony
Perez. I know.
Some guys who were with the organization for many, many years. Conine from the very beginning. He was an original Marlin. How
do you have that conversation with Tony Perez, though?
Right.
Let me sit down. I got something to tell you.
He was one of the great guys in baseball.
Yeah. But, well, got to do what you got to do, I guess. If you think you're headed in the right direction, you're calling the shots now. You got to stand up and take the heat for the moves that you make. Let's face it. I mean, the Marlins as a franchise has been an excellent example of a team that can tear down, build up, win a championship, and tear down again.
Yeah, I've done it a couple of times.
Yeah, and won. You know, there's a lot of franchises out there over the last 20 years who can't tell you that they've won 2 championships. Cleveland Indians, maybe.
Well, you think of franchises that, you know, came up from the ashes and won world championships. Look no further than the Houston Astros. You know, all of those years where they just got crushed in 100-loss seasons, and because of that, were able to draft effectively. They were very prudent who they signed and when they signed them, building, and all of a sudden, it feels like it's overnight. It certainly wasn't. All that talent, and Alex Cora will tell you that it was a great ride to be part of that last year, to see that talent come to fruition and win a championship. now they're going to be good for a long time.
Yes, they are, because
they're really good.
Because they didn't get any older. They're still kids. Minnesota Twins did something similar, worst to first.
Ryan Schimpf 0 for 2. He has struck out twice. Bases empty and a 3-2. Red Sox will be facing those Minnesota Twins just down the road, about 6 miles away at the Twins spring training facility on Tuesday. It'll be an evening game. We will have that for you here on NESN. We'll be broadcasting 20 spring training games. That one is foul tipped and not held by Butler. And of course every Thursday on Boston 25 as well. So plenty of spring training baseball coming your way. Well, we'd certainly love to see you here in person.
Well, they pack them in down here every day, that's for sure. So there's enough people coming down to watch these games. It's a great thing. Such a great family trip.
Yeah, this is a terrific facility.
People from the Northeast get out of that weather, come down, get a sunburn, watch some baseball.
In there, strike 3. Third consecutive time that Schimpf has fanned. And there are 2 gone.
You don't want the hat trick, whether it's spring training or not. Hoping to put one in play. Fouled one off that Butler couldn't handle, and then just couldn't do anything with that one. He thought it was up.
That's Brian O'Nora behind the plate today. This is a full major league umpiring outfit with Jeff Kellogg at first, Field and Culbreth at second, Tim Timmons at third. So all big leaguers. 2 down, bases empty for Sucre.
Spring training for them too.
Sure. And the announcers as well.
Exactly.
Sucre is fly to right, grounded to second.
And a 2-0 pitch from the right-hander Martin. That one pop foul. Selsky to give chase, but will not be able to get to that. Yeah, certainly the major story for a lot of the players and for the organizations here, both in Florida and in Arizona, was the announcement right before spring training got underway that baseball was going to a new rule for mound visits, limiting each team to 6 per 9 innings. And an additional visit for every extra inning played. To deep short, a sprawling play. Olt is up and gunning, and he won't get him. Akemi could not scoop that one. Had to lean almost into the runner, and Sucre will be safe at first base. Olt made a nice stab to get to it, but could not complete it.
That was an all-out dive to make the play, and then you got to scamper up onto your feet and make a good throw. Wasn't able to dig it out on the other end. Look at that. You can't dive any further than that. Tough play for first baseman when you're having to stretch back into the runner coming straight at you. Got to make sure you stay inside the baseline so you don't get hit.
So a man aboard with 2 down for Jason Coates, who has singled and fly to left, 1 for 2. Need to charge Olt with an error on that play.
Oh, thanks for coming.
Yeah, makes a diving play and has to get rid of it in a hurry, and he's charged with an error. That's a tough call. Spring training for the official scorers as well, Steve.
If you're the official scorer and you make a great diving play like that, at some point in your own mind you have to say, okay, well, now you made the play. Can you stand up and throw the guy out? And maybe the official scorer thought that he had a lot more time in order to do that and then just made a bad throw, which turns it into an error. If I'm the hitter, you got to be saying, come on.
You're bleeding for a base hit there.
Yeah. Guy did everything he could to try to keep me off the bases, and he couldn't do it. That's a hit.
And I realize that Sucre is not fleet of foot.
Not the fastest.
As a catcher. And that's probably the longest you and I should have a discussion on an official scoring decision in spring training right there. I don't think we need to go any deeper.
No more.
And a 1-2 to Coates. And a piece. And the Red Sox and the Orioles tomorrow. Alex Cora not bashful about playing a lot of his regulars for these home games at JetBlue. Doing it again today. They're all out of the ball game now, but I'd imagine Mookie would get in tomorrow. Xander Bogaerts in tomorrow, perhaps.
Every other day, it seems like, early on. And the guys, when they're not playing in the game, they're working harder than when they're actually in the game.
Down he goes. Nasty pitch there to strike him out. So he winds up striking out the side. One man left. The sights and sounds of spring training. 3-2 Red Sox. Game road trip in Buffalo. Tune in as the Bees look to claim the top spot in the East. Coverage begins tomorrow afternoon at 4 on SN. Now some changes here for Tampa Bay. Chaz Rowe is going to be their new pitcher, long and lean right-hander. So he will take over to take on Selski here in a moment. Tommy Malone is their new left fielder. And Andrew Velasquez is their new second baseman. Well, last year with Atlanta and Tampa Bay, appearing in 12 games, but pitched pretty well. Selski on the day with a strikeout. He's also hit into a 6-4 fielder's choice, 0 for 2. Still 3-2 here in the 6th. Chaz Rowe is going to be their new pitcher, long and lean right-hander. So he will take over to take on Selski here in a moment. Tommy Malone is their new left fielder. And Andrew Velasquez is their new second baseman. Well, last year with Atlanta and Tampa Bay, appearing in 12 games, but pitched pretty well. Selski on the day with a strikeout. He's also hit into a 6-4 fielder's choice, 0 for 2. Still 3-2 here in the 6th. Chaz Rowe is going to be their new pitcher, long and lean right-hander. So he will take over to take on Selske here in a moment. Tommy Malone is their new left fielder. And Andrew Velasquez is their new second baseman. Well, last year with Atlanta and Tampa Bay, appearing in 12 games, but pitched pretty well. Selske on the day with a strikeout. He's also hit into a 6-4 fielder's choice, 0 for 2. Still 3-2 here in the 6th. Chaz Rowe is going to be their new pitcher, long and lean right-hander. So he will take over to take on Selske here in a moment. Tommy Malone is their new left fielder. And Andrew Velasquez is their new second baseman. Well, last year with Atlanta and Tampa Bay, appearing in 12 games, but pitched pretty well. Selske on the day with a strikeout. He's also hit into a 6-4 fielder's choice, 0 for 2. Still 3-2 here in the 6th. Chaz Rowe is going to be their new pitcher, long and lean right-hander. So he will take over to take on Selske here in a moment. Tommy Malone is their new left fielder. And Andrew Velasquez is their new second baseman. Well, last year with Atlanta and Tampa Bay, appearing in 12 games, but pitched pretty well. Selske on the day with a strikeout. He's also hit into a 6-4 fielder's choice, 0 for 2. Still 3-2 here in the 6th. Chaz Rowe is going to be their new pitcher, long and lean right-hander. So he will take over to take on Selske here in a moment. Tommy Malone is their new left fielder. And Andrew Velasquez is their new second baseman. Well, last year with Atlanta and Tampa Bay, appearing in 12 games, but pitched pretty well. Selske on the day with a strikeout. He's also hit into a 6-4 fielder's choice, 0 for 2. Still 3-2 here in the 6th. Chaz Rowe is going to be their new pitcher, long and lean right-hander. So he will take over to take on Selske here in a moment. Tommy Malone is their new left fielder. And Andrew Velasquez is their new second baseman. Well, last year with Atlanta and Tampa Bay, appearing in 12 games, but pitched pretty well. Selske on the day with a strikeout. He's also hit into a 6-4 fielder's choice, 0 for 2. Still 3-2 here in the 6th. Chaz Rowe is going to be their new pitcher, long and lean right-hander. So he will take over to take on Selske here in a moment. Tommy Malone is their new left fielder. And Andrew Velasquez is their new second baseman. Well, last year with Atlanta and Tampa Bay, appearing in 12 games, but pitched pretty well. Selske on the day with a strikeout. He's also hit into a 6-4 fielder's choice, 0 for 2. Still 3-2 here in the 6th. Chaz Rowe is going to be their new pitcher, long and lean right-hander. So he will take over to take on Selske here in a moment. Tommy Malone is their new left fielder. And Andrew Velasquez is their new second baseman. Well, last year with Atlanta and Tampa Bay, appearing in 12 games, but pitched pretty well. Selski on the day with a strikeout. He's also hit into a 6-4 fielder's choice, 0 for 2. Still 3-2 here in the 6th. Chaz Rowe is going to be their new pitcher, long and lean right-hander. So he will take over to take on Selski here in a moment. Tommy Malone is their new left fielder. And Andrew Velasquez is their new second baseman. Well, last year with Atlanta and Tampa Bay, appearing in 12 games, but pitched pretty well. Selski on the day with a strikeout. He's also hit into a 6-4 fielder's choice, 0 for 2. Still 3-2 here in the 6th. Chaz Rowe is going to be their new pitcher, long and lean right-hander. So he will take over to take on Selski here in a moment. Tommy Malone is their new left fielder. And Andrew Velasquez is their new second baseman. Well, last year with Atlanta and Tampa Bay, appearing in 12 games, but pitched pretty well. Selski on the day with a strikeout. He's also hit into a 6-4 fielder's choice, 0 for 2. Still 3-2 here in the 6th. Chaz Rowe is going to be their new pitcher, long and lean right-hander. So he will take over to take on Selski here in a moment. Tommy Malone is their new left fielder. And Andrew Velasquez is their new second baseman. Well, last year with Atlanta and Tampa Bay, appearing in 12 games, but pitched pretty well. Selski on the day with a strikeout. He's also hit into a 6-4 fielder's choice, 0 for 2. Still 3-2 here in the 6th. Chaz Rowe is going to be their new pitcher, long and lean right-hander. So he will take over to take on Selski here in a moment. Tommy Malone is their new left fielder. And Andrew Velasquez is their new second baseman. Well, last year with Atlanta and Tampa Bay, appearing in 12 games, but pitched pretty well. Selski on the day with a strikeout. He's also hit into a 6-4 fielder's choice, 0 for 2. Still 3-2 here in the 6th.
Your group in 2018, Red Sox group outings are the perfect way to entertain your clients, boost employee morale, school outings, and team outings while taking in an unforgettable event. Visit RedSox.com/group for more information. Steve Lyons and Dave O'Brien alongside here. This is Ty Buttrey taking over on the mound. So the new Red Sox pitcher in the minor leagues last year, 40 appearances. And a tall right-hander. Brett Sullivan is their new DH for Tampa Bay, so he'll hit here. For the Sox today, 4 runs on 8 hits, and for the Rays, 2 runs on 2 hits. Not seen a home run today, but we've seen a couple that were awfully close. Seventh inning and a bounding ball. Akemi will feed the pitcher.
Those kind of hurt.
How long does that stink for?
Not too long, but long enough to hurt your pride. Take a jam sandwich like that, you still have to run down to first base.
Because you haven't crushed it.
No, you got crushed.
You're feeling it. That's bee stings in the hand.
Now wait till April up in Boston. It'll be way worse.
Yeah.
It doesn't hurt so bad when it's warm. You just, like I said, it's your pride that's broken.
Right.
Along with your bat.
Daniel Robertson has played the entire game. He'll swing again, 0 for 2, but with a run scored.
Buttrey appeared in 40 games last year in the minor league level. He's been around for 6 seasons now. Exclusively in the minor leagues, trying to make that jump, open up some eyes, find a way to get to the big leagues.
They have snuck in Jay Cronenworth. So he's hitting here. They tend to do that in spring training.
That's a good name.
That's a long one.
I like to call those guys armpit guys. Your name starts in one armpit, goes to the other one.
That's some work by the clubhouse attendant. Get all that on there.
A lot of ironing on there, you know. Saltalamacchia.
Oh, yeah.
That was a good one.
Oh, we had a lot of fun working with Salty last season in a broadcast booth. And he talked a lot during the course of our broadcast about, he didn't feel like he was done. He felt like he could still come back and make a run at it. Espinal with a long throw right on target. Smoothly done. 2 up and 2 down. Again, the Red Sox and the Orioles for the first time tomorrow afternoon right here on NESN at 1 o'clock.
Well, I could sit up here and talk about how I feel really good and would like to make a comeback as well, but then I wake up.
Your body starts talking to you.
Yeah.
Those knees start talking to you.
Oh, man.
What was the first thing you thought of when you were beginning, the whole process of I'm shutting it down as a player? What hurt the most?
I retired at 33, and things didn't hurt. My shoulder hurt the most.
Fly ball, that one headed out toward the triangle. He's going to pull up. Johnson will stop at second base with a double, so it's the first extra base hit all afternoon for the Tampa Bay Rays, and Johnson in a scoring position. So the shoulder was barking at you, but you're 33, you could overcome it.
Yeah, I did feel like I could play another couple of seasons, but what really happens to you, especially when you're a utility guy and get a little bit older, when you're not that good a player in the first place, and then your skills start to erode, they find other guys to do it, younger guys.
Whose shoulders are not throbbing.
Yeah, I mean, I knew the day that I was losing it. It was in batting practice. I was playing in Pawtucket at the time, and there was a ball hit into the gap, and I ran after it. I was going to catch it, and I knew I was going to catch it. And then when I got there, I didn't catch it. And that was the first time in my life where I was like, my head told me something that my body couldn't get me there to do.
Yeah, so it's almost like a light goes on, right? Like, oh, wait a minute.
Yeah, and I was 33 then, and I thought, well, okay, now I'm going to have to start tricking them for a year or two. But I really didn't get the opportunity after that. It was pretty much done after that season.
And when you got to trick them,
then
you better have 3,000 hits in the bank.
Yeah. Or a lot more money than I had, too.
A lot more money. Long in play up the middle. And a wild throw, and that's going to bring in a run. No play at the plate. That'll tighten it up and make it 4-3. Makito is a little off target. And Tampa Bay back on the board.
Sad part about a play like that is that he's made this play 100 times. It's not an easy play going away from it, throwing off your off foot. But middle infielders make that throw all day long. So he's questioning himself right now. Like, how did I do that? Spring training.
So Kiddo's with the misfire. Make it a one-run game again.
Major league players make those plays look so easy. They kind of make it look like anyone could do it.
Boy, isn't that the truth?
You know, and then when you see a play like that and someone breaks it down for how hard it actually is, you're going away from the play, you're throwing it off your other foot, you got to still make the throw. They do it all the time. But when someone finally messes it up and it looks that ugly, you're like, oh, maybe it is harder than it looks.
Kelly the batter, man at first base. 4-3 Red Sox in the seventh.
Strange batting stance here, huh? The hands.
Yep.
Hands are really low. You don't see anybody doing that anymore. I think what he's probably trying to do is he's telling himself, I want my hands in a bad hitting position so that I remind myself to get them in a better one before I swing the bat. So his kind of cocking action before he swings, he'll bring his hands from his waist up to a good hitting position. He was probably getting lazy at a point, so he's working with his hitting coach saying, let's do something different to force you to get your hands to where you want them to be. Guarantee you they will come up as he's ready to swing.
Pops out of the mitt, but no advance by the catcher, by the runner at first base on Butler.
So he's got a little bit of that leg kick. Hands come back into a good hitting position. Front leg comes up. A lot of extra motion there. But whatever works.
You think of all the mechanisms that hitters have used over the years. I always come back to Joe Morgan, the Hall of Fame second baseman.
Flap.
With that flap. Nothing worked there, and down it goes strike three, but a run in to make it 4-3 Red Sox.
Spring training on NESN is brought to you by Ace Ticket. More than a ticket. Visit aceticket.com or call 1-800-MY-SEATS.
And by Jordan's Furniture, the furniture store, the Boston Red Sox. Now the fans stretching here at JetBlue Park in Fort Myers, Florida. Red Sox with a one-run lead on Tampa Bay. The veteran Jose Mujica coming on out of the bullpen now for the Rays. And he'll get 6, 7, and 8 in the Red Sox batting order. Once again, a one-run game. Red Sox had an early 3-0 lead.
Well, he had decent numbers last year as you look at him right there. A lot of innings pitched. Couple different stops in the minor leagues. Had a little trouble with the bases on balls, though. You walk guys, they'll come back and hurt you, and they did.
So Dan Butler has come in as the second catcher today. We'll test him first. Dan 0 for 1 today. He's hit into a fielder's choice.
I remember when Danny Butler made his major league debut with the Red Sox. Called up a few seasons ago, and he had that big beard. Mustache with a little snidely whiplash to it. Remember, he looked like Yukon Cornelius.
Yes, well, there's your Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Yeah.
Reference of the day. Which, you know, they continued to air that for decades afterwards. You know, when you and I were kids, it was on the air.
Sure. Still on.
I think it's still on.
Yeah.
Every Christmas. I think it's
Christmas tradition. You don't get away from that.
Along with the Grinch Who Stole Christmas.
Yeah. Charlie Brown Christmas.
Yeah. You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch.
Who's the singer of that?
Was that Boris Karloff? Was that who that was?
Don't think so. And now that I'm asking you, don't know. I think his last name was Thurlsgood.
Swing and a miss, and down goes Butler. So he's retired.
Although you did a very nice impersonation of that.
Thank you.
Do you have more of it?
Oh, I've got tons of this stuff for spring training. Let's get down to Guerin.
Well, Abby, Steve, early this morning, the Red Sox players met with the executive director of the MLBPA, Tony Clark, and afterward, Clark spoke with reporters, and he said everyone in this clubhouse is concerned about the unsigned players because it has just been such an unusual offseason. And, of course, the subject of pace of play came up, and Clark said you're not going to find a player who enjoys playing 4-hour games. He said they all like playing those crisp, excitable games that fans enjoy watching, but players feel that they can control this on their own, and there's definitely fundamental differences on how they're going to approach this. Now, mound visits did come up, and Clark said the biggest concern right now is sign stealing. And when Alex Cora was asked earlier, guys, he said this is still a work in progress.
All right, Guerin, thank you very much. You know, I got a lot of respect for Tony and a lot of respect for the Players Association and all the great things they've done. As that one is flared in the outfield by Travis, he's got himself a base hit with one down. But I do not believe the players can police the pace of game themselves.
I'm with you.
I think rules do have to be put in place.
If they could, they would, and they're not.
Game has slowed down at epic proportions in many cases. Mound visits this year, without a pitching change, will be limited to 6 per team per 9 innings. You see the definition of a mound visit. And I think this is a great thing for baseball. I think it's absolutely necessary and a little overdue.
And it's going to be tricky. I mean, you have a couple mound visits early on, and then all of a sudden you get into a tight game in the 7th or 8th, and maybe you want to say something, but you're at 5 visits, you're at 6 visits. What are you going to do? Go out there and talk to them, or yell at them from the top step?
Esteban Quiros with a runner at first base and a foul ball. Red Sox with a 4-3 lead. Yeah, I believe it's imperative to improve pace of play, and I think baseball has to gain the attention of a younger fan, another generation fan, and make it more pleasing for the older generation fan and everybody in between. But games have gotten to the point where there's too much dead time. And a fly into left center field, Malone will be called up by Johnson.
And our world in general, but most specifically to the younger generation, they need quick. They need stuff that's inspiring. They need stuff that's quick hitting. They don't have the attention span to sit around and watch something that's slow to them and boring. You got to keep things moving.
Baseball games used to be 2.5 hours long, and then 2:45, and then 2:55, and then 3 hours. Now over 3 hours on average. And people this day and age don't have that kind of time to devote to a sporting event, especially a sport that plays every single day. And it does need to be addressed. And I, for one, am very happy as a fan who loves the game to see some of these changes.
And I say this every time the topic comes up, and I truly believe it would really make a difference, although it would cut down on a little bit of offense, and I think people do enjoy offense. But I think if the strike zone was bigger and the umpires called more strikes and the hitters knew that, and they knew that anything close they had to be hacking, especially with 2 strikes, things would speed up. The strike zone now is tiny.
You know, it's for all the complaining, however, that is done about America's pastime, it's still the best game there is.
Without question.
You know, it's the best game, and it's the most difficult sport to play. And these are the absolute best on the face of the earth playing it. And I do like to watch them play every single night, no matter how long it takes to reach a result. But I do think baseball's heading in the right direction with these rules.
Sure, and there'll be more. And as you said, you know, dip your toe in the water first and then try to see if you can make things better as time goes on.
Kyrie Washington has already had himself a thrill this spring training with a grand slam against Northeastern, but he's down hacking here for out number 3. 1 left, still 4-3 Boston. Lesson is brought to you in part by Ace Ticket. Ace Ticket, where Red Sox fans go for tickets for all their favorite events. From sports to concerts, Ace has the best selection at the lowest prices. Visit aceticket.com or call 1-800-MY-SEATS. Red Sox to bring on the left-hander, Dedgar Jimenez. He'll take over in the 8th inning with the Sox on top 4-3. A-ball and Double-A last year. 15-3 with a 3.02 for Jimenez.
Pretty good numbers, isn't it?
146 innings. And walked only 41 men, so good command.
4 years in the minor leagues so far.
And Tommy Malone, first man in against him. He takes ball 1.
Tommy Malone stepping into the box and holding his hand up as if he's trying to call timeout until he gets set.
Jimenez will gun a strike to first base to get him one away.
They don't give you those timeouts anymore. You're not Derek Jeter. Jimenez, big guy as you can see, but good reactions on this little comebacker right here. Spin around, make the play easily.
Very smooth. 1 down, Velasquez hitting. Very little offense for Tampa Bay. Red Sox pitching's been tough on them, allowing just 3 hits. It started with Roenis Elias, who went the first 2 innings. 2 strikeouts, no hits, no runs. We've also seen Brandon Workman and Heath Hembree, Kyle Martin, Bobby Pointer, among others. Here's a look at the play in the stands. One hand.
Nice.
That's how you do it. Mid-season form.
Didn't even bring his glove to make that play.
Then you get to brag about it for the next 45 minutes. Akemi with the catch, and that'll be a quick 2 outs. 2 down here in the 8th. Kerry Washington staying in the ball game to play right field, so every position has changed at least once for the Red Sox today.
Elias threw the ball well today. I mean, he could still make himself a factor. Originally came over in that Wade Miley deal to Seattle. He and Carson Smith.
Well, you're right too, and that's why he'll get a long look.
Carson Smith certainly was the kingpin of that deal, and yet, you know, the injury to him wasn't really able to show what he could do until late last year.
Yeah, came back, showed you some flashes, didn't he?
Yeah, he's nasty. Like to see him for an entire season, healthy.
We'll see him pitch tomorrow, scheduled to go against the Orioles in our game here on NESN. Another dribbler. That's going to roll foul. Yeah, it's going to be very exciting to see what Carson does over an entire season. You know, all the way back now from Tommy John. He says he likes to sit around 93, 94. Occasionally he can get it where he wants, 97 if he has to. But for the most part, with that vicious breaking ball of his.
Yeah, I'm not sure why he was talking about his fastball.
Yeah, right, with that slider. Red Sox 4, Tampa Bay 3. We're in the 8th inning. And Jimenez trying to finish him off, and a ground ball to the middle. A diving play. The flip on to first base, not in time.
Holt again. He's had 2 diving plays today. He's been able to make the play defensively, but just not enough. The ball's way up the middle on the dive. You really have to hurry here. You just don't have the time to throw the guy out.
You're talking about a third baseman way over there. Behind the bag making that play. About a base hit. So a runner on at first with 2 down. Tampa Bay, a very light hitting team last season. Even though they pitched pretty well. Here's Tavares on the move, and he runs it down in the alley to retire the side. No runs ahead. 1 man left to the bottom of the 8th. Red Sox leading 4-3.
Months with equal payments and no minimum. Only at Jordan's Furniture, the furniture store of the Boston Red Sox. Red Sox coming to bat here. Last half of the 8th inning. They hope it's for the last time today. 4-3 lead on the Rays. They've out-hit them 9-4. Tampa Bay will make a change on the mound and bring on Forrest Snow, the right-hander. One of many who have thrown the baseball today, or will, for Tampa Bay. They've had 8 different guys make an appearance today. Their starter did not go very long, only 2/3 of an inning, which you see fairly often here in spring training, early days.
Yeah, it didn't help the game plan with not being able to get out of the first inning. Give them 2/3 of an inning and your starter's gone. But that's like I talked about before. The extra guys that make the trip, usually pitchers, you always bring enough in case you go extra innings. Some of those guys get the opportunity to pitch instead of making the trip, sitting on the bench, going back home.
Well, Tavares will lead things off here in the last half of the 8th inning. He almost hit one out in the 6th inning. He tripled high off the right field fence in front of the bullpen and eventually came around to score. Red Sox added on a run that right now is the difference in the game. Rusney Castillo on deck. And a 1-0. A strike. You're going to get that higher strike from Brian O'Nora. He believes in the strike zone being from the armpit to the hollow of the knee. One and two.
Snow, another one of those guys who has had no major league time, although he's had 7 minor league seasons. Was originally drafted in 2010, was in AAA as early as 2012, but has never been able to jump up.
Down he goes, strike 3. So Tavares whiffs this time, 1 away in the 8th.
Threw a couple pretty good changeups right there in that sequence. Take a good look at it. Bottom falls out of that. You think you're going to get a good fastball to hammer, and not today.
Bringing back memories of championships for the Boston Red Sox when you see names like that. Curt Schilling and Dustin Pedroia. Petey trying to make his way back from offseason knee surgery. Expected back in May. Dustin has been here in spring training. Saw him out signing some autographs for fans earlier before the game.
Keeping a pretty private profile as far as his rehab and working is going. He's here early. Generally does not partake in any of the practicing that's going on with the rest of the guys on the field. Gets his work done early and or late.
We did talk about it one of the picnic table sessions. You know, a week ago he talked about the procedure for the cartilage in the knee. You know, it's really worn down in there and needed to have this done. He's very happy about the procedure. He's happy about his recovery and his rehab. Typical of Dustin Pedroia, he said, you know, I want to be the best at rehab. You know, I'm busting it as hard as I can on that to be the best at that. I think he looks at even that as a competitive thing.
Sure. I was going to say the same thing. It's like he'll be back when he can be back, and far before a normal human would be back.
2-2. He pops it up short right. Velasquez out. And 2 down. Tonight at 6, tune in as the Bruins take on the Maple Leafs in Toronto. Our coverage starts at 6 p.m. on NESN.
I talked to Stephen Wright, who had a very similar surgery to Dustin Pedroia, and he said the trouble with that type of surgery that they both had is that there's not a lot of them going on. There's not a timetable. They don't know exactly what the procedure is going to be. You know, and each guy responds a little bit differently to the treatments and how quickly they heal. There's a lot of surgeries out there that have been performed so many times they kind of know exactly what to do to get you back. This one that's not the case.
This is cartilage restoration procedure done in October. And he said going into the offseason he listened to a lot of advice. He knew what he had to do, but he said the good thing is, talking about Dustin Pedroia, he said I don't feel pain in the knee anymore. You know, when I get up in the morning, I don't have that pain. That's the most important thing. He said if I didn't, it would be kind of an issue, but my knee doesn't hurt like last year. He added, it's not fun to live your life like that. You wake up every day and it's aching.
Pain can age you.
2 down, a 1-2. He held up. Also going to be interesting to watch Dustin Pedroia's relationship with Alex Cora, because they were close when they played together. Cora was a huge proponent of Dustin Pedroia being a star for the future. And soon enough, he won an MVP. And they lockered next to each other when they were players. And that is in there for strike 3. Caught him looking. Sox go in order. We move on to the 9th. Red Sox trying to put it into the win column, up 4-3. Is to import the NESN Red Sox calendar into your favorite calendar program. Visit NESN.com/schedule today. Well, Red Sox looking to win this one. They're on top 4-3. They've led all afternoon here against Tampa Bay. Adam Lau coming out of the bullpen looking to finish this one and put the Red Sox to 2-0. In the Grapefruit League with Salem last year, and A-ball, a 2.98 ERA in 37 appearances. And again, join us tomorrow at 1 o'clock as the Red Sox will take on the Baltimore Orioles, and I'll sing a little bit more of The Grinch if you really, really beg for it.
I do. I want to hear more of
The Grinch Who Stole Christmas. Nothing says spring training like Christmas songs.
Yeah, but that's just Mr. Grinch. That just transcends Christmas.
It really does. Touches all generations, especially the way I do it.
Yes.
And the Red Sox getting 3 runs in the first inning today, and have only scored in 1 other inning. We'll see if it's enough. Tampa Bay getting a pair in the 3rd and 1 in the 7th. Among the early hitting stars today for the Red Sox, certainly Jackie Bradley, who singled and doubled while he was in the game. Actually hit the ball very hard 3 times. A pop-up and a shortstop to grab this one for the out.
We talk about the way offense was last year and the amount of home runs that were hit in baseball. Not the Red Sox, but just the overall abundance of home runs. This kid Lau comes in with an ERA of under 3 last year in the minor leagues. However, I mean, you get an ERA of under 3, you're doing something these days in the way the game's played today.
No doubt. Of course, the hope is that J.D. Martinez will be the remedy. Red Sox did finish last in the American League in home runs last year. He hit 45 between Detroit and Arizona. Still no official announcement on J.D. as of this hour. That's not to say it couldn't happen today, but it is yet to happen.
I don't want to put you on the spot, but you generally know stuff like this. When was the last time, or how many times has a team finished last, dead last in home runs and won the division?
Boy, it just doesn't happen.
Doesn't happen.
You know, and Chris Sale made this point at Winter Weekend. He said, you know, Red Sox are, this was before, you know, the signing of J.D. Martinez. He said, you know, we're bringing back a really good ball club. Everyone's talking about the Yankees, or they're talking about somebody else in the division. They're talking about the Yankees. You could tell he was a little bit ticked off about it. He's like, hey, the Red Sox won 93 games. The Red Sox are bringing back a healthy David Price this year, along with Chris Sale and everybody else in that pitching staff. Kimbrel had one of the great years I've ever seen from a closer.
Oh, yeah.
And, you know, pitching is what drove the 2017 Red Sox.
Exactly. So that was it. I mean, and they made a concerted effort to get better pitching and defensively. So kind of followed their own game plan.
Another one popped up. Holt drifting out along with Espinal, and in comes Castillo. 2 down. Now, for me, the difference has to be, do you believe when you get into October, you can go deep into October? I don't think that a lot of people felt the Red Sox were steamrolling at the end of last season and were going to have a long run when they ran right up against the Houston Astros. And obviously, they went on to win the World Championship. They dispatched the Red Sox pretty quickly in the first round. It's what happens when you get there now.
Right. You got to be playing well when you get to the playoffs. There's no question about that. You can have the, you know, you can be, what was the team? The Seattle Mariners won 116 games and got bounced in the first round of the playoffs. You've got to be playing your best baseball heading in. To me, at the end of the season, the best team in baseball was the Cleveland Indians for me. And then I would say second to that were the Houston Astros. Dodgers certainly were an excellent team. But you know, Cleveland kind of took a dirt nap quick. That was a darn good team.
Darn good ball club.
That went south.
Yep.
And that's baseball. You know, I think when you follow the Red Sox and you live and die with the Red Sox, and that's your team, you think this never happens to anybody else. Why did this happen to you? Yes, it happens to a lot of teams.
Yeah. Well, here we are in the second day of Grapefruit League play. We're talking about late October. We've got a long way to go here, but it's fun to think about it with this Red Sox team.
That's what you think about,
and that's where you want to be headed. No question about it. That's why these guys are showing up here right now.
Red Sox a strike away from a victory here. And a 1-2. Opening day on the 29th of March this year. It will be baseball indoors at Tropicana Field against these Rays. Then on to Miami, and then home to take on the Rays on April 5th in the home opener at Fenway. Adam Lau trying to end it. 2-2. Base is empty, 2 away in the ninth. And a 2-2. Down the left field line, Castillo on the move down into the corner. That's a fair ball. Heading into second, here's the throw, and not going to get him, so Johnson's in there with a double. So not over yet, coming with 2 down.
Oh, that was some kind of tremendous emergency swing right there. He picked that right out of the catcher's glove and got it down the left field line. Down in the corner, good view of it. Way better view than we actually have up here in the booth. We cannot see Castillo get down into the corner. Very much the same as at Fenway Park in Boston, but we have a camera that can show you.
So Wong will get an at bat here with 2 away, and a tying run at second base for the Rays. See some shadows down there in that corner. Every place else in the ballpark still bathed in sunshine. Wong reached on air by the second baseman his last time up. Wind starting to blow out now to center field. For the most part today, it was right to left. Ground ball to first, and a bobble. He kicked it around. Everybody's going to be safe. Down to third base is Johnson. Akami knocked it around there on a play that should have ended the ball game. So not over yet. First and third for Tampa Bay.
You just catch this and step on the base and it's all over with, but wasn't able to get it to stick on the inside part of that glove there, off the chest. Another try at it. Makes things a little dicey here now, and Lau's gonna have to bear down.
Been a bit of a sloppy game defensively for the Red Sox, despite a couple of really nice plays early by Mitch Moreland. Red Sox have made 4 errors.
Yes. 5 errors total in the ball game, 4 of them by the Sox.
Here's Kelly. And that'll be outside, ball 1.
Danny Butler going to step out in front and discuss defensive possibilities and for a potential stolen base, where he's going to throw the ball, if he's going to throw it through, if they're going to worry about that run at third base trying to score to tie this game up.
And Butler's been around a while, not necessarily at the big league level, but in the minors with the Red Sox for quite a while. 2-0. Well, Lau got the first 2 outs pretty quickly in a pop-up and a fly ball, and then the double by Johnson. And now the error on a play that should have ended the ball game. And now to count 2-0 on Kelly. And in there for a strike. Four runs, 9 hits for the Red Sox, 3 runs on 4 hits for Tampa Bay. And the 2-1. All even now, 2-2. So even in spring training, even in the Grapefruit League, the Red Sox and the Rays play games like this. Seems like all summer long they do it. It's been going on for years.
I think the hate level has calmed down just a little.
Definitely has.
Not the same characters.
Picked up against Baltimore. 2-2. And in there for strike 3, and that'll be the ball game. The Red Sox win it by a final score of 4-3. Alex Cora's Red Sox now off to a 2-0 start in the Grapefruit League. Make sure you join us tomorrow at 1 o'clock. Red Sox against the Baltimore Orioles for their first meeting of the spring. And join us later on tonight. The Bruins at 6 o'clock taking on the Toronto Maple Leafs. For my partner, Steve Lyons, and for Garrett Austin, I'm Dave O'Brien. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you again tomorrow right here at Fort Myers.